Wow. Already 2 whole fucking viewers. Thank you, Toby and Denny.
Wow, we're on a roll already. It's early. I love it. I love it.
Welcome back to 2 Beers Deep, where we just talk about a bunch of stupid stuff, and normally we drink, but we're getting older, and Greg's not drinking for Lent, and I just didn't have a beer and gout.
Three more shows, and then this is done. This is done with.
Does that mean
three
there's
more
only
shows?
3 more shows till the draft?
No, because we have
No, the draft's the 27th.
yeah, we have 2 more shows after that until the draft show.
Okay.
So 3 more shows for me, and then I'm drinking. 5 more shows, and then it's our draft extravaganza. So
What's your first beer you're going to have, little boy?
it depends. If I wait until Sunday morning, it'll probably be that mindful coffee beer I have.
Yeah.
Because I'll have that for breakfast. If it's
Damn it. All right, Denny said he's here for the beer. I'm going to get a beer.
Denny, the man is recovering from something very serious that was a cause from the beer. So I'm just saying, you in turn making him now drink and get up to go get a beer and then do it on show is basically a sign of you not wanting our friend to be healthy. And quite frankly, Denny, I don't appreciate it. You don't support the troops and you don't support friendships clearly enough. So that, shame on you in that case. Very much shame on you. And yes, I will be drinking in 3 more weeks, I think, or something like that.
Denny,
so
God dang it. Hi, Mom and Dad. I'm sure you're there, just not commenting. I love you guys. Greg, let's crack this beer to make Denny happy. Folded like a blanket. Then, nah, it wasn't even I didn't even act. Wait, what? Denny just said he didn't tell me any of this. What were you telling you? Were you giving HIPAA shit away?
No, just said stuff.
What'd you say?
I'm aware of HIPAA first off.
Well, what'd you
based
say?
on
I have the recording. We record this show. I can go back, or you can just tell me.
I said you are suffering in terms because of your beer, so you were taking a break.
Huh.
What's wrong with that? Yeah.
Yeah, Denny, I don't know if I got a bunion or I got gout, but I got one of them, and it's good now, so my assumption is it was gout of some kind. But it's also because I'm pretty sure I had a beer since I turned 21 until, like, this past week, every day.
That's a long time. Well, what was that? Only 3 years, right?
Smalls, Denny over here stirring the pot. Yeah, facts. Yeah, here's the other thing, though, Greg.
Go ahead.
Well, hold on. Are you, man, I'm all sorts of Dre's in here. My name is Ken Francis. They call me Ken Franchise. 3, 2, 1, action. Good old hippies and cowboys. Nah, Denny, the alcohol consumption is going to go down to a little bit. He was discreet. All right, Toby saved you a little bit, Greg. Kenny Franchise, what's up? Smalls, what's up? Denny, what's up? All right, boys, we got a hell of a show for you because it's our last show before Josh gets back, which means one thing, Greg. We can just vibe. You and I just enjoy each other. You know what I mean?
Before we have to do production calls and making sure it flows by segment and figuring out specific topics we want. And
I did remember to upload the show to Spotify.
Play.
Just fun fact. So
shout out to you on that. Big steps in your favor.
So I do want to call Denny out for a second here because he says, Smalls, we're supposed to be on a team. Don't be causing issues, my guy. Denny was the first person to throw out Joe Paterno's name when Penn State lost in March Madness. Smalls shot him, dude. He said, bro, we had a great night last night hanging out. Now you want to throw Paterno? Throw a little Joe Pa stuff in there?
I saw that. I was over a friend's place, and then all of a sudden my phone just starts buzzing like crazy, and I see Smalls and Denny just going at it in the chat. And quite frankly, I'm not a Penn State supporter, but shame on Denny for just throwing bullets like that. That's hitting a man while he's down.
Nah, I'm team Denny in that situation.
Why are you team Denny in this situation?
Because somebody has to stand up for Denny. And I'm officially taking. I stood up for Dre because I like to gaslight Dre.
Yeah.
I made it my New Year's resolution. I'm no longer gaslighting Dre, and from now on, I am standing with Dennis. And if that means that you guys, I support the troops. I always have supported the troops. I stand with Dennis. We support the troops.
Well, first of all, I'm proud of you for not gaslighting Dre anymore, and I'm pretty sure we need to trademark Nostradamus now in some sort of way just to keep that as a thing. But
Dre just says the broadest takes, and then he's like,
because
"I
it's the
told you
most
that was
likely
going to happen."
because it's the most likely thing to come true, so he doesn't sound
But he
wrong.
saves himself. He goes, yeah. Well, Stroud's going to go 1. Come on, unless I'm like, no, there's.
No. That's not putting a stake into this. That's not like owning up to your decisions. Like you gotta be more upfront. You gotta have a foot on the ground when you make these choices and stand firm. If you're wrong, you deal with it on the back end and then you own up to it.
Dre gonna say Denny knelt for the anthem? Isn't that? Now I'm confused. I was Team Denny until his shot at me. Small said, "What's up, Ping?" Everyone's in the chat today. If my goal is to have a battle royale of all the thoughts and the bench members before it's all said and done.
Who would be the favorite in that match? And first off, would you be in it or would you be commentating?
I'd be in it. The second I'm out, I'd be commentating. Because here's what it is, Greg. I would be in it, and the second I'm out, I'd commentate because I would say, well, I had to get out. The commentary was bad.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, who would be the original? Who would be the original commentators then? That would be bad enough for calling
I would
battle royale.
Probably bring Brooksy back.
Brooksy could hold his own on the mic. That's fair. He knew how to do it.
My pick for an all-inclusive thoughts from the bench, not counting, because I know Josh would try to do this, not counting the Union Fitness guys, because they've never been on a thoughts from the bench. Because if it is, it's Curtis. But for me, man, if I'm picking a unified, Rumble champ from all of the thoughts from the bench guys, that I'm not going to pick myself because I don't want to. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Cap, Tom Dubé. Him and Ryan and some kind of Dudley Boys duo there.
The mountains of a man that everyone have to gang up on to get out of the situation. I
feel like Josh would try to take them over and pull some like Wyatt family stuff.
I could see that as well. I mean, we do know there's a history there. They did the entrance together. Cornhole Boys for life is a thing. Mm-hmm. Now I'll give you an underrated one actually, because I've seen him hold his own in a mosh pit, and I think he's enough to be able to handle himself. Alex.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, he's the thickest of the. He has the thickest skull I've seen to date.
Yeah, I've seen Alex hold his own in A Day to Remember mosh pit and chucking dudes. So like I could see him be willing to get some dudes over the top.
Babyface. Let's start the show. So we always start the show with a conversation that's not sports. Let's give comps for our thoughts on the bench coworkers about their wrestling. Alex is you go ahead.
Well, wait. So here are the categories. We'll do babyface, clear good guy, heel, clear bad guy, and then the in-betweeners, which are called
what's a
tweeners.
Is a babyface a guy that's the face of the company because the fans like him, or a guy that's projected to be the next face of the company? How does that break down?
So back in the
I always thought it was just a young-looking guy.
Well, kind of, yeah. So babyface, like the term kind of came from the territories in the 70s, which is like promoters want to push like the guy. They want a guy that is going to draw
Finn
people
Balor.
in, and kind of, yeah. And part of it is based on the looks. That's why the babyface derogatory came from. Like you want someone that is going to be like out there, kind of like shaking hands with the fans, like getting girls in and attracted to them and stuff, and then wanting to be the guy that's going to promote you. You want someone who's good looking to be able to do that. The heel comes from obviously like, when you walk on dirt barefoot, your heel gets black, your heel gets dirty, your heel is ugly, which is kind of the derogatory.
I thought it was because you turn heel to put your back to someone. I always thought it was because the baby face is the face, you're front facing, you're the front of the company. The heel is because you turned around.
Well, perhaps the only thing with that is it would cause the idea of the heel. In that case, would have to be you would start as a baby face and then make a turn. But there are people that start out as a heel, so the logic may not apply accordingly. But I like it. I do like that though. That's not something I've heard before.
That's what I thought when they said he turns heel, it means they turned away. You know what I mean?
No, but like it's like the North Carolina Tar Heels, you know, like when you see like a logo of them, it's like the foot with like the black dot on their heel.
Yeah.
That's like the logic is like when you get dirty, it's ugly, it's something that you don't want to look at, it's something you hate and you despise. So that's the logic.
Interesting.
And then Tweener is the guy that's like is projected supposed to be one thing. He's like the anti-hero of wrestling. You know?
Okay. Well, then let's start throwing out some comps, and you can help me walk through the titles. But I think the comps we can start with. Who's your comp for Alex?
Like, are we talking wrestler or just like babyface or heel?
Wrestler. And then, so here's the thing: a comp, a wrestler, but then we can give them the category. Josh is going to be so pissed he missed this episode. By the way,
I know, right? I'm kind of happy he's not on this one just for that. Wow. Okay. So Alex, big dude.
I have mine. I would throw my hat as The Rock, same hairline. They love to hear me talk on the mic. Simple comp. Thank you, Dre. That is not your comp.
No, that is not Dre's comp.
It is his comp, but it isn't his comp because he said it. Like Dre could be The Rock, but just because he said it, it's not his comp. All right, sorry.
No,
Alex.
that's like cheating, trying to claim that. And all, in terms of Alex, maybe taller guy, kind of thick built and stuff, can hold his own. And this is he's not alive anymore, but shout out to him, Brody Lee, Luke Harper.
Oh.
Dude, that was like thick black beard and stuff.
Yeah, wasn't he a Wyatt brother family?
He was a Wyatt family member. Yeah, through a sick clothesline and stuff. Like when you looked into his eyes, he could get scary if he wanted to. I think that's a good comp.
I think I have a better comp.
Go ahead.
For me, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and here's why.
Alex?
Yes, here's why.
Go ahead. Let me hear this.
Just drinks a beer, drinks another beer. Drinks another beer. He's Greg, for me, when I see Stone Cold as a guy that didn't grow up on wrestling, he is like the country bumpkin guy. And like not a bad way, but he's a southern accent. What's this freaking martini doing? Like Alex to me is the manliest of man. Stone Cold's the manliest of man. Dre says the way y'all describe Alex, I'm thinking Bam Bam Bigelow. Dre, feel free to keep doing comps as we do it because I want
He looks like He kind of looks like Bigelow. Bigelow had his head tattooed with like flames on it and shit. So like I could see it from an intimidating perspective, but I just think in terms of like body build, because he's like a little taller, I see more Luke Harper from that, or Brody Lee.
Hold on, I'm writing these down to make a graphic. So Alex, Brody Harper,
Brody Lee / Luke Harper, whatever like company you want to go with in that.
All right. I picked Alex to comp, so you get to pick the next employee to comp, Greg.
Oh, okay. I say we do the ranking.
Oh, okay. So Austin. A crowd favorite. I got it. So not a crowd favorite. A crowd punching bag at times. Doesn't care about being the punching bag. Has been somebody that's been with the company forever. Willed his way onto his own show by starting out on a different show. Give me the Miz.
Oh, God. Loudmouth, no one respects, but yeah, you kind of have to respect because of the diligence and how his longevity has did.
And you know what made me think of it? When he freaked out on Daniel Bryan. And he was like, yo, not everyone can just come in here for 2 years, sacrifice their body and do it. Other people need to be around all the time. And it made me think how Austin is always there for Thoughts on the Bench, always a part of it, really good at times, like champion at times. And other times he's a very good complimentary piece. I think the Miz.
I got one that's a little bit of a throwback. He's a manager. Punching bag almost. Thinks he's smarter than he actually is, but he's always challenged on that fact. But yet he also is one that you can rely on to put on a good performance. Bobby the Brain Heenan.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Bobby the Brain Heenan is?
Don't shame me.
Sorry.
Hey.
Managed Andre, Rick Rude, God,
Let's
I'm trying to
see.
think who else. Like, yeah, Bobby
Oh,
the Brain
okay.
Heenan.
I
Yeah.
see a picture with him and Andre now. I don't know who that guy is, but yeah, I'm with it now.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, don't say sorry. Dre said, I agree with Miz. Dre, do you have another comp, or do you going with Miz? Which is cool if you're going with Miz. For me, I think I'm 2 for 2, Greg.
I think it's solid. Yeah, the Miz one I didn't think of at first, but when you described like getting on the show and stuff, it's a perfect portrayal
Right?
for it. Yeah, that's a
Right.
good portrayal. Yeah.
All right, so we got Austin. I'm going to move on to my next character I want to comp, and that is Chipper. That is Chip.
Wow.
You have to give your comp first there, and I want to figure out who Chip is.
Okay, so HR rep has his own takes. He's kind of respected to a degree, but he can also punch back if he wants to. God, I'm trying to think. I don't want to go with an older comp again either, because that's just like.
Well, you know my
really
sweet spot of wrestling. Like when I started watching wrestling, it was like sophomore, junior year of high school until the end of college. That was like my wrestling era of people. So Dre and you obviously can think of names from the ethos. Mine's gonna be pretty there. But Dre doubled down on the Miz, just an FYI, so we're both there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, in terms of your wheelhouse, like I can kind of see something almost like he's respected, but like is not necessary. But like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Were you around during like the John Laurinaitis era when he was like the GM and stuff?
I remember the name.
Had like a very deep voice. Like, he like tried to act like he was.
Oh yeah,
a big deal. Yeah, had people power and
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, I could see that as Chipper, kinda.
Really? Okay. Is that a good thing?
Yeah. As a character on TV, yeah, I could see it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a very specific way to word that.
Yeah, no. Like, there's some backstory stuff that like because he was like a higher up in WWE, and there's some stuff I'm not gonna like delve into. But in terms of character, just character, yes.
Huh. Dre says Eddie Guerrero. Thoughts on that before
for
I get
Chipper?
Yeah.
For Chipper? No.
Why not?
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna pick him, so why not Eddie Guerrero?
Eddie Guerrero was like, first off, the lie, cheating, and stealing. I don't see that as Chipper.
Dre.
First off. And second, Eddie Guerrero was like very flamboyant and very like, and just oozed charisma. Like, I love Chipper, but Chipper doesn't ooze charisma. I'm sorry.
I think he does to me. He doesn't ooze flash. I think he uses charisma though.
Okay. But like, not Eddie Guerrero. That's way too aggressive.
My comp for Chipper, I think this is a good one, by the way. Really owned himself as a solo, even though he was a part of another group. Finds the humor in everything. Chip is using bad words, my mom said. You know what, Greg? If it wasn't in my blood, it wouldn't be sexy. Give me HBK.
For Chipper?
Here's why.
Really? Okay.
Here's why. I think he's sexy. So there's one. Two,
right.
The other side of it is when I think of HBK, I instantly go to the Jericho versus DMX, where they basically got them a ticket to front row and then disqualified DMX themselves and were like, oops. And then the Jericho had to go back to SmackDown, and it was like they could never challenge for the belt ever again. That side of it, that was Chip. I was like, yep, that's my dad. Yeah, he would some conniving little thing to be like, and have fun the whole time.
That's the part I like. Okay, so he's very much like the type, like he likes to, not underhanded, but he'll be the type of person that like finds a way to get something in a creative way.
If he gets you, you know. Chip is Vince McMahon. He runs the show, Denny said. I think Chip's more liked.
That's fair. Yes. Yes. 100%.
You're up for the next bencher.
Okay.
We'll do this for another 10.
Yeah, this is actually kind of
Dre said, wow, so that sounds just like Eddie Guerrero.
I wouldn't go that far. How about, you know what? Because I want to hear this because it's a humor perspective. I want to hear Vo.
Oh, okay. Votash, universally loved by everyone except you. Nicest human ever. Gets a little when he gets angry. He gets angry, like his little hockey spells.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You know what? He's versatile. He's athletic. He got nice hair. Let me look up this one guy's name. Okay, I got it. I don't know how much you're gonna like this.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go John Morrison.
Wow. Okay.
I think John Morrison was well liked. I saw him do parkour to the stage the one time. He went out and was Johnny Mundo and was like the same character on Luchador, right? And
on Lucha Underground,
and for me, John Morrison was like, he was fun. He was a great piece to every show that I watched. He never really had like a bad match. He was always in the heat of it. I'm gonna go John Morrison.
What's funny about him is like he works he'll do indies and stuff or like work for other promotions from time to time, and his gimmick for all of them is he changes his last name to whatever he's working for. So like he did a spot show on AEW once and his name was Johnny Elite, or like he worked Impact once and his name was Johnny Impact.
Good for him.
And like Lucha Underground, Johnny Mundo. For me, this one's very easy.
Ooh.
Solid all around, but there's a famous story about this wrestler that Vince McMahon always said that if he could, he would have his show run where there would just be a blue dot covering this guy's face because he thought he was unattractive and it was funny to watch it the entire time. Never pulled it off, but it was something that he always wanted to do and never could. Christian.
Oh, I thought Christian was a good-looking dude.
Yeah, well, apparently Vince McMahon did not, because that was a running gag that he always wanted to do. But he is exactly the type of person. He's solid all around. Will never go higher than he can. Won't go too low. He's just fitting right in that middle. He's what in the wrestling business. He's a good hand.
For me, Christian was always equal with Jericho until I learned who Jericho was. Does that make sense? Like, Christian was amazing. But once I learned Jericho was early, middle, and still going, I was like, oh, no, never mind. That was a bad take. Dre said Vo in the ranking had a tag team, too, just like The Miz and Morrison. I'm with it. Love that. All right, let's do a couple more. I'm cool with it.
I think this is fun, yeah.
I'm going to pick Denny, and I'm interested to hear your comp.
Okay. So, doesn't support the troops, for one.
Nope, he does. I'm Team Denny. He does support the troops. He does.
He doesn't support. So, this is going to sound a little specific, but hear me out on this, okay? Sergeant Slaughter, but when he was a bad guy, and he was an Iraqi sympathizer.
So walk me through that storyline.
1991. Sergeant Slaughter, all-American hero, decides to return to WWF, and in the middle of the Iraqi situation going on, I believe it was the invasion of Kuwait was going on at the same time. Wrestling decided to mirror what was going on in current events, and they made Sergeant Slaughter a bad guy and turned him into an Iraqi sympathizer.
Daddy said, "What the fuck?"
He actually won the world title as a heel. So I'm saying Denny is being comped to a world champion. So you're welcome, Denny. Just saying. But
yeah, Dre said Denny's Hornswoggle. Thoughts there?
He is short, and Hornswoggle had some chubby thighs too. So it worked out.
Chipper says Vo is Kerry Von Erich. Who's that?
Oh, the Texas Tornado? I wouldn't go that far. Kerry Von Erich was like...
I like it, Dad.
I'll put it to you this way. So A24 is making a movie about the Von Erich family called The Iron Claw. The guy playing Kerry Von Erich is Zac Efron.
Oh. That doesn't look like Vo at all.
No, it does not. So, like the thing about Kerry Von Erich was that like he was well known to have like movie star looks.
Here's my comp for Denny. You ready?
Go ahead. I'm ready.
Works hard,
Yes.
but no matter what he does, never quite feels validated, and continuously is screwed over by his best friends. Give me Kevin Owens.
Oh, I want to hate it because Kevin Owens is such a badass, and I don't see that in Denny at all.
Jeez, dude. What's with you and Denny right now?
Nothing. Denny attacked you at the beginning of the show, so now I'm hostile.
Fair. I think it's KO. I think they were friends with Sami Zayn. I'm not saying that's Smalls, but they were close, and then that. And,
Wow.
And he was close with Jericho, and then they had he always has these falling outs, and no matter how hard he works, he never seems to get his credit. So I'm gonna give Denny KO.
Wow, I like that. That's interesting. Okay.
Thank you, Dre. Denny says
All
him.
right.
Good.
Benny Buckets.
Oh, okay. I feel like this one's easy for me, but I'm going to think about it for 1 second.
I think it can go a number of different ways, honestly, for Benny.
Okay. So without naming a name, why is that?
I think he's got the gift of gab, he's got the charisma, but he's also I think he's underrated too, to a degree.
No, he doesn't get to his potential, maybe.
Yes. Interesting.
Denny said, officially giving my 2 weeks focus on soccer coaching. Where are you coaching, Denny? Are you coaching with the squad? Dre said Jericho for Benny.
What? No.
I don't hate it for the sole
No.
purpose that, like, it's a little gimmicky, it's a little funny. Like, Benny's a good humor guy. Oozes charisma, a star and a top guy. I think, and this isn't a knock at Benny, because we're talking about strictly thoughts on the bench stuff. If we're talking about life, Benny absolutely destroys it. I think Benny could still do more thoughts on the bench stuff because he's hilarious. I think Jericho is kind of a slut for wrestling, so he'll do whatever. Tell me if I'm wrong there, Greg, though.
No. That's the same way. Like, Jericho does basically everything under the sun, and he does wrestling just because he loves it. Like, he's a rock star. He's an author. He, has a podcast. I
was going to say his podcast did really well, didn't it?
Yeah, still does actually. But Jericho's just like one of those guys that just always wants to stay busy.
Yeah.
Like he does. I don't think he understands the concept of slowing down at all whatsoever. So from that perspective, maybe. But that's interesting now that I think about it, because Benny, in terms of charisma, in terms of guys that when he has the mic, you're gonna get something entertaining from him. I could see it actually.
Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible one. It really goes down to what, it's tough. I think Benny on the mic may be one of our best people, right?
Yes.
So that's why for me, on the mic he's unstoppable. I think this wrestler never reached his peak, but never hit the tier of the Rock and all those guys. So for Benny, give me Macho Man Randy Savage.
Whoa. Okay. He was Savage in terms of the hardcores is probably top tier because he did everything you wanted. Great wrestler, great gimmick.
Fair.
He is everything that you probably wanted. It's just he lived in an era of Hulk Hogan, and therefore he will never be able to get over that stigma right there that he was always kind of second fiddle to Hogan.
Fair. That's my stick though. Benny is Mick Foley is what Dennis said.
Hardcore legend.
I do love
around for did everything to put on a great show, even if it means sacrificing himself.
His body.
Sacrifice his body, literally.
Who do you got, Greg?
So that's interesting. Gift of gab. Gift of gab could always but never reach his full potential. This one's a bit of a stretch, but I would say Road Dogg Jesse James.
Oh.
One half of the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, that is one of the few names that I know. The Road Dogg, and I know the Outlaws.
Yeah, the Road Dogg. He had the gift of gab. You knew when he had the mic, he always had something to say and was entertaining and stuff. When you put him in the ring, he knew exactly what to do. But he just he never got to that next level, which isn't a bad thing. But still, in terms of the character and what he did, I think that's a good comp for him.
Fair. Let's do two more. So I want to do Dre because he's here. So I'll pick
All right.
Dre, and then you can pick
Okay.
the last random one here. So, Dre, The Rock is no longer able to be selected because Dre
No.
can't pick for himself.
And also, just for the sake of this, we are not picking any descendants, any like cousins or family members of The Rock either, because that's cheating.
Who
Roman.
wrestled? That was
That's like a family member
Yeah.
of The Rock. Roman Reigns, Rikishi, Rocky
Roman
Johnson.
Reigns and The Rock are related?
Yeah, they're cousins. The Usos. Trying to think.
In real life?
Yeah, they're cousins in real life. Yeah.
They're not blood related, but are blood brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
His
what does that mean?
if I remember.
Way
if
back
I
in the day,
remember
Roman
correct-
Reigns' grandfather, Amatuania Inouye, took in Peter Mavia as a part of the Inouye tribe and embraced him as a brother. Peter Mavia is the maternal grandfather. That is sick.
Mm-hmm.
Tribe shit's cool.
It is. Samoans, man, they're wild people.
Facts. So who do you got?
For Dre, okay. Charismatic as hell.
Yep.
Tries to talk you into believing what is actually not accurate, so he's definitely a heel. Wow, this is good.
I got mine for him. And I think you're gonna hate it, but I think it's good. Do Elsas,
Okay.
Dre says. We'll finish on Elsas. How about that? We'll do Dre then
Finish on
Elsas.
Elsas. Finish on Elsas. Okay.
My Dre comp, to buy you some time.
Okay.
Charismatic, up there with the greats. Doesn't know when to quit. Going the Hitman, Bret Hart.
Bret Hart. Oh my God. Okay.
I think highly
I
of
did
Dre.
not think that.
I think highly of Dre.
I did not think that.
Give me the Hitman.
That's interesting. Brett's not known for being a charismatic guy.
Here you got to think about when I knew about Bret. I learned about Bret when he came
fair.
back with the son and the daughter and all that stuff, and he led them on the mic, like
That's
he
fair.
led that group. So that's the Bret the Hitman Hart to me.
Okay, I think I got it. This one's actually really good.
I'm glad you think so.
Charismatic as hell. Charismatic as hell. Well decorated champion. Can be babyface or heel depending on the right situation and right story. Actually,
I know Dre's just like giggling, laughing, smiling right now. He's like, "Shut up, Greg."
Is actually and is somewhat kind of still active, not wrestling, but he's active like within the wrestling scene a little bit. But is I think someone too that at least people respect and are interested to hear stuff from. Booker T.
Oh. Okay.
Well-rounded, very great charisma. You put him in any situation, he can either make you laugh or he can make you intimidated.
Yeah, Dre says I am not. I have a question. That's the first black guy you comped. Is it because Dre's black?
No, it is not.
Okay,
Dre,
Dre, I had to ask Dre. I had to ask Dre.
I promise it was not. I promise it was not. I was actually thinking about other ones earlier, but I was like, ugh. I don't know, because like I think it just works well for him.
Right, he said I am not, but then he said
well.
okay, I am. Yeah, I think Booker T's good for him.
I think Booker T is a great one for him.
He
It
thinks
just
he's a
makes
king.
sense. Yes, that's actually a great point. All hail King Booker. He likes to talk with a fake English accent when he's being a heel. I could see Dre doing that.
All right, and we get on to Elsas. Okay, now I'm dying. Josh Elsas. Have you thought about his wrestling comp, or have you heard his wrestling comp? And do you know if he thinks he has a wrestling comp?
I feel like he does think he has a wrestling comp, but I have never actually spoken to him about.
I know who he thinks his is. I think.
You think he knows what you think? You know what he thinks his is?
He would tell us it's CM Punk, because he's like against the establishment, and they shut my mic off, and they hate me. He would think that.
Yes, he would.
But I think that's terrible.
Yeah, I agree. I believe he's obviously very counterculture-esque in fairness. He tries very hard to be not. He likes stuff that isn't cool, but tries to go about it in a way that like pushes it over the top almost. I think. So I'm trying to think of a wrestling comparison for that. As like someone who says how good he is, but in actuality, like
The Miz is off the board, just for the record.
Miz is off the board. That Miz would have been a great comp for him, actually.
He would have cried if we gave him the Miz.
We would have. He would have, yeah. Oh wow, this is good.
Dre, if you have one, feel free to throw it in there.
You know what? You know what? Especially now, I'm gonna give him Seth Rollins.
I need you to go into some detail.
Especially now, Seth Rollins, like if you've seen him on TV, he's very like over the top and kind of like putting on these wild clothes and stuff to kind of like draw people's attention and stuff. And it's almost like become now like a fun gag for him. But for the longest time, Seth Rollins was looked at as the guy that like people wanted to be the next.
Yeah, he was
thing.
the fan favorite when the Roman Reigns stuff was happening. Yeah.
Yes, but he was never truly able to kind of get that, like, hit that like next step to be like the face. He's always been there. He's always been someone that's relied upon. He's always been like that upper level, but he's never been the next guy. He's never been the Roman Reigns level. He's never been like the Brock Lesnar, the John Cena-esque, but he's always there. And he's popular.
Yeah.
And he's someone that I think that you can always rely upon to put on a show when needed.
Denny
Which
says,
is literally what he does.
Seth Rollins had the most losses in 2022, so definitely LSS. And Dre thinks Edge.
Edge would be good too. I wonder which era of Edge though. Maybe when Edge first won the title when he was paired with Lita. That'd be interesting.
JBL, Dre says.
Loudmouth, no one liked.
Yeah, but he wins, right?
He does win. Yeah, you're right.
I got a comp.
Okay.
Foreign guy.
Okay.
So starting there.
All right.
Everyone followed. Started a little revolution. Was kind of like a I'm better than you as a leader guy and like you should follow me. Give me Wade Barrett.
Bad News Barrett or
Bad News Barrett. Oh yeah, Bad News Barrett, dude. I wouldn't disrespect Josh and just
bad news.
I wouldn't disrespect Josh and give him NXT Wade Barrett. Give him Bad News Barrett. But
Bad
it's
News
like
Barrett.
the whole like he should have been. I remember when NXT and WWE was a thing. I thought Wade Barrett was gonna be the next greatest wrestler ever for a hot second there. Like he wasn't
Fair.
great, but they were pushing him. And so for me and Josh with him, Wade Barrett found his way. He's happy not killing and not being pushed as hard. And I think Josh pushed himself really hard, and now he's kind of relaxing for a little bit, and he gets it. Yeah. So he's going to love that next week.
Barrett's actually on commentary for SmackDown now. He took over for McAfee now that McAfee is like doing like other stuff. Yeah.
I'd like that. The other name.
Pat McAfee would have been like a good comp, I think, for someone, I bet.
For Benny.
Benny would have been a good one. Yeah, that's right.
Thinking of that. All right, let's actually talk some sports here, Greg. We wasted 40 minutes on that. Not wasted, but it was good.
That was fun.
Baseball Classic World Series since Dre is here.
World Baseball Classic, to be exact.
I have the Baseball World Classic up. Okay. World
Baseball.
So I watched the final, but I was at Lord of the Rings trivia. I did get to see, however, the Ohtani Trout at bats.
How did you do at Lord of the Rings trivia first off?
We finished a respectable, I think 11th out of 32 teams.
That's very respectable.
Shout out to Matthew at work. He carried us.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have a couple questions here leading into this. So the World Baseball Classic hasn't happened in 5 years due to COVID. Has it ever had this many stars sign up for it? Because I've never paid attention to it.
I think when it like first started, I vaguely remember like some of the bigger names involved into it, but I don't think they were as invested because I don't remember the USA ever getting to like unless it happened the last time they played. Because I'll be honest with you, I barely paid attention to the World Baseball Classic even when it was on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I kind of like I would say I kind of took it for granted a little bit, especially for the fact that like I appreciated like all of these different teams playing and stuff, but like for the most part, like the way where it's usually placed, I just don't care for it that much because it's always before the season because it's the only time you can do it, and during that
Yeah,
time,
that'd be
I'm more
tough in season.
yeah, like I'm more focused on like how certain teams are doing. Like I'm not really like invested into an international series for baseball. Now I'm probably going to be more interested, especially for the fact that teams. It seems like the players nowadays are more invested into it than I was expecting them to be.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. Is that you see these names. Who was it? Was it Freeman that played for Canada? There was somebody played for Canada because their mother recently passed away. I thought it was Freddie Freeman. Either way, so you see that. You see all the guys, Tatis and them going down, I think Dominican. Mexico goes really far.
Randy Rosarena was huge for Mexico, yeah.
But then you look at Yu Darvish and Shohei Ohtani, and who's the young guy on the Japan team that signed for like a big deal in MLB last season or something like that? Isn't there a guy on there?
I don't know about last season. I know there's a guy that
they have like a crazy guy that signed like a 10-year deal or some shit.
I can't remember. I know that I know their shortstop Makanishi apparently is like being looked at as a guy for next season. So I think they're Sadoy Kenga, I think his name is. I think he signed with I think he was like a pitcher or something that's signed. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
I clicked a link that says best players who are not named Shohei Ohtani. There's Munetaka Murakami, third baseman for the Swallows.
Okay, yeah.
Is he coming over?
Murakami is not coming over this season. He hasn't been posted yet.
He's the Japanese Aaron Judge, is what they say here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the way that a Japanese baseball kind of works and stuff, like you have a lot of guys that go up through their system.
Yeah.
But what teams will do, and I think I've told you about this before, but like what teams will do is like after a certain age, they will go through a posting fee. So like the Japanese baseball league will notify Major League Baseball that like, hey, these guys are now available if you want to sign them, because for the most part, like their rights are with a Japanese baseball team, so like they can't negotiate with them or anything. If you post them, Major League Baseball teams have to bid in order for the right to negotiate with them and then agree to terms with the contract. It's like I remember when Daisuke Matsuzaka came over and stuff, and there were like maybe 9 or 10 teams that had to like bid just for the rights to even like sign him. And then when the Red Sox won the bid, then they had to sign him to his contract.
So Masataka Yoshida, he is now on the Red Sox, but not on the Red Sox. That might be who I was talking about.
Okay.
It says the WBC will be the first look for a lot of MLB fans get to see Yoshida before Japan's Contact King joins the Red Sox for the 23 season. So I think Masataka Yoshida is who I was talking about.
Okay, got it.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was enjoyable to watch because of all the names in it. I get kind of weirded out by sports that I don't watch on the national level because most of the time it's not all the best guys going. Like for hockey or some of the even basketball, it's not even all the best guys most of the time. Mm-hmm. So it was cool to see the big names.
Well, here's the other thing too. Like it still has a long way to go. I believe, first of all, a couple things that I love. Number one, Italy's national team had an espresso machine in their dugout.
Oh, that was so cool. That was cool.
Incredible that I saw that. And then the other one, and I believe it was the Israeli baseball team. I could be wrong on that one, but like one of the teams was just made up of guys in the country. They weren't even like playing professionally. I don't think they were playing like amateurly or something like that. They just tried out and then
that's cool.
Got to play. No, yeah, that's the stuff that I think that's cool. Now, for the record, I think hockey would be a much better one, like balanced wise and stuff. Like, cause they tried a couple of times like to do like almost like a World Series of hockey for the longest time because the Olympics doesn't allow like professionals anymore. So, and I think they tried to do that a few years ago on ESPN. I thought it did very well, but like they haven't been able to kind of replicate that.
Wasn't the TJ Oshie stuff the Olympics?
That was the Olympics, yeah. But like after that Then
After that,
there was
gotcha.
after that there was also like there was a tournament like that they tried to do that was like a world championship, a world like cup-esque
Yeah.
type thing for hockey. That was really cool, but it didn't like catch on after the fact, which kind
Gotcha.
of sucks. I think it would have. But
It was
no.
Freddie Freeman, by the way, on Canada. I just checked. Just wanted to throw that
okay.
out there.
That's cool. I did not know he would play for Canada, but that's awesome. I hope that becomes a thing where like dual citizenship now becomes a thing, like how for like soccer, like to determine what country you play for, it's like your birthrights, and if you have like dual nationality, like they try to recruit you.
Well, and I asked
awesome.
my friend Matthew, who I was with, I said, all right, well, is he then Team Canada forever? And I guess you can go back and forth in the World Baseball Classic, which is cool, I think.
Yeah, no, it's really cool because like I mean I know in FIFA you have like a certain age you have to make your commitment or something or decide that if I remember correctly. Yeah, because like there's guys that have played back and forth between Mexico and the United States like a lot to determine like how they fit or what
for
they
sure.
want to do with
Dre also writes in the WC is great. Trey Turner is a god, and the Ohtani Trout showdown was special. Something I'm going to tell my kids about. Yeah, how did you feel about that at bat? And then we can get into the game, Greg. How did you feel about that? Because I've texted you, and that slider, gross.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest moments as a baseball fan I think I've seen in my time. There are many things as a baseball fan that I will never forget. I will never forget seeing the Red Sox win a World Series. I will also never forget them coming back from 3 down to beat the Yankees in the ALCS.
Yeah.
I will never forget the Cubs breaking their curse.
Yep.
I'll never forget the Steve Bartman incident. I will never forget, even though it's been expunged from the record books, I will never forget Barry Bonds like breaking Hank Aaron's record and all that stuff. That is something that I will probably never forget either because it's something that I didn't know I would ever see.
I didn't know that you had already forgotten about Cueto.
That's true. Cueto, I still remember. I still remember exactly where I was.
That's one. Yeah, that's one I'll remember.
I'll never forget where I was for that. Yeah, but that is something that I just never thought I would expect to see. Like at most, I mean, we could see it next year because we don't even know if the Angels are going to offer Shohei Ohtani the amount of money.
Yeah, true.
But the fact that everyone wanted it to happen. The fact that we got it, because everyone knew the way that Japan was setting up the rotation. They were setting it up so Darvish would pitch the 8th and Ohtani would pitch the 9th. No one was expecting Mike Trout to be the last out either. So that's something that, like, just the placement of it is amazing. I think it's something that will be remembered for a long time simply for the fact that it's never something that we thought it would happen. I think, and this is something that pisses me off about baseball in general, because of the fact that the game and the interest has not gotten younger.
For sure.
To that point, we still have a lot of like older heads that still might not find it as significant or anything like that. Like, did you watch First Take with like Chris Russo, like basically saying like it meant nothing or some of that? I wanted to throw something at my TV when I heard that.
Why did he say it meant nothing? What a dumbass statement.
Well, Russo also like is very old school and has like stuff that references from like the 30s and 40s and stuff as like his reasoning. Like he says Larry Bird's the best basketball player of all time and shit like that, and it just drives me nuts. But he talks.
So he's just a dumbass.
Oh, he's a dumbass, but he's comparing it to like he was offended by the people or like the headlines that were putting out here as like the greatest at bat ever, the greatest moment in baseball, and he's like referring to the fact that like Trout doesn't even compare in terms of like the all-time greats, like some of the guys that he saw, or like all-time matchups and stuff.
But Trout doesn't compare to the all-time greats in terms of accolades, in terms of talent. Trout is Aaron Rodgers. The accolades really aren't there, but we know he could be the greatest to ever do it. He just didn't get it done.
No. Mike Trout, I could also say is the Dan Marino of baseball. You know, the guy that
perfect name. Yes,
the guy that was the greatest, but never got the accolades with it because of the organization he dealt with or whatever. But like in terms of like when you watched a guy, you knew damn well like that was the best.
Yeah, so the whole like he's not even in the greatest conversation ever. Like maybe not. I mean, like right now you're not going to compare Dan Marino and Tom Brady, but when you're on the field and you're like, I need one of these guys to make one throw, you're like, I might pick Dan Marino in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But no, I think the moment was amazing. I think, and something I didn't even realize this story either, but like I didn't know that the actual like backstory of how Japan became a baseball country. I guess like
No, it's a good
I
point.
guess there was like I think it was the 60s or sometime like a group of like in the off season almost of like of like all-star major league players like went overseas to play exhibition games, and they included guys like Mantle and stuff.
No
And
way.
then yeah, and then 2 years later that's when Japan had its first baseball league like started and stuff.
Get out.
So like the roots of baseball was started from America. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw like Otani's pregame speech to
No.
the Japanese roster. Like obviously like you couldn't understand what he was saying, but like the transcript was and stuff was basically just talking about how like we should not be in awe of them. Being in awe of them means you've already lost. Show that you are better than them and show that you are just as good as them, and we will win this game. And it was impressive, and god damn it worked. But I want to put this caveat in here. That was not the best roster that the USA could have produced.
No.
In terms of lineup, that roster was incredible. But pitching,
Yeah,
that
who
pitching,
didn't go?
off the top of my head, Verlander didn't go, Scherzer didn't go, DeGrom didn't go.
Jesus. Who did go, I guess, is the question.
You know what? I couldn't even tell you, but like, because the funny thing is like the guy who was pitching in that game for the USA was like the number 3 starter for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I was gonna say so. Jason Adams, Daniel Bard, David Bednar, Kyle Freeland, Kendall Graveman, Merrill Kelly, Aaron Loop, Lance Lynn, Nick. Is this really the list?
Yeah, that's the pitching staff for that USA team.
Why?
Because the logic is like teams didn't want to let their guys go because they
Adam Wainwright is the only name I know, Greg.
And here's the scary thing about Adam Wainwright apparently injured himself like during a workout for Team USA, and he's starting the season on the injured list.
Oh, I didn't know Mookie Betts is from Nashville.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too.
Just found that out.
But,
no, all in all, I thought it was cool. I thought it was good. I thought the Shohei Ohtani Trout thing was sick. So let's go ahead.
I had a question for you about this one.
Please.
Do you what's your take on like kind of the people that are upset about guys being injured during World Baseball Classic and then screwing up their start of the season with it? So the two notable ones that came out.
Yeah.
Edwin Diaz, the closer for the Mets.
Was that the celebrating one too?
He was celebrating and tore his patella tendon, I think is what it was. Yeah, but he's out for the year. Guy that just signed a 5-year, like $100 million contract with the Mets, so
which is guaranteed.
Which is guaranteed, done for the year. And then Jose Altuve, one of your favorite players, broke his thumb on a hit by pitch in the World Baseball Classic, and he is out for the first 2 months of the season.
Good. Okay, so for the other guy though, no. Here's my take on anybody that complains about injuries that aren't in the moment in the game. I think that largely and ineffectively treats players like they are not human. You want these players to be put on a shelf until it's time for you to sit down and be a fat piece of shit and drink your beer and watch the sport. So what I mean by that, Greg, is like Tyreek Hill running track. People are hating on that, and it's like, so you just want him to go sit in his house until it's football season. People get hurt.
That was awesome. I thought that was awesome.
100%. People get hurt training. Somebody just tore their ACL at the combine. Like, did you want that guy not to play at the combine?
Yeah, and Andrew Voorhees, like a guy that like I actually really liked as a second, third round guard.
I kept picking him because of Jason.
Yeah.
Literally my take on all of that is because you aren't treating them like humans. Because you and I, Greg, we go out and we could get hit by a car and die. And that's a very real thing. And people would be like, well, why were they out of their house? I think it harshly stops treating athletes like human beings, because for me, you play the game because it's fun. Yeah, if you get hurt and you ruin it, I get it, but that's why you go to the Olympics. That's why you do the dunk contest. That's why you go to the World Baseball Classic. That's why you play in the World, you know what I mean? Like in the World Cup, and it blows my mind when people complain about playing and stuff like this, because that's what they do. They play.
I agree. The notion though, and I find it fascinating, is by the fact that like the reason that a lot of the best pitchers didn't go over is
Yeah.
because of the fact that like teams that are paying them their contracts and stuff are looking at it from the perspective of we don't want you.
Yeah, from a team
getting
perspective, I don't disagree because if I'm the Mets and
that's
that
the argument in
happens,
that
you're like,
one.
well,
Yeah.
we're 105 million in the hole now because of that. From a fan perspective, get off your fat ass.
Yeah, no, from the fan perspective, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Like, does it suck? Like, if I'm a Mets fan, that my closer is going to miss the entire season? Yes, but I also know I have an owner that doesn't care about how much money he spends for the sake of getting a winner. But in terms of like the team dynamic, I understand it, but my counterpoint to that is like we just saw Rhys Hoskins, the starting first baseman for the Phillies, like tear his ACL today from taking a ground ball during a spring training game.
Exactly. It happens.
You know, like like it's anything can happen. Like training camp in the NFL, for instance. How many times do we see guys get injured during training camp and are done for the year? You know, like there were plenty of times that you can just make one cut and then all of a sudden, bam, your knee explodes.
Yep.
It's just you never know what's going to happen. And sure, are you averting risk by not letting a guy go play over a season stuff? Sure, you are, but you're also probably creating maybe a negative perception from that player, or you're setting yourself up for like
100%.
a massive problem in that case. Because I imagine, could you imagine if the Angels had told Shohei you're not allowed to play for Japan?
That would be. I mean, if I was him, I would have just told them, all right, well, I'm sitting out this year and I'm just a free agent now.
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
especially this is his last year as the Angels, so like he'll be a free agent after that. Yeah, so that's like they're clearly in the situation where they're like, yeah, we're not fucking around with that. Like, we got to make sure that we let him do what he wants.
Yep.
But I'm curious if it's a pick. If it's like a judgmental call on like if a guy we think will get more at bats or will get more usage out of that or something like that. Because I imagine for the position players, Trey Turner batting ninth in that ridiculously good lineup and then getting a week off before the season starts. I think Trey Turner's on a great start for the rest of the season now in that case.
Is it? I always got him confused with the redheaded Justin guy from the Dodgers. For the longest time. I can't explain why. I have no idea why, Greg.
Probably because their last names are Turner, more than likely.
Is that Justin Turner?
Yeah, Justin Turner.
Man,
yeah.
I'm a genius. All right, let's move along here, Greg. Let's do March Madness update, some NBA news, and then we're going to get our 2-round mock done today. So an hour left in the show. March Madness, Greg. I'm going to pull up the Thoughts from the Bench brackets. And
I haven't even seen it.
Yeah, how do you think you're doing?
I don't think well, because I'm pretty sure I lost 2 Final Four teams. I know I lost Duke. How in the world?
You had Duke in the Final Four?
I had Duke in the Final Four. Dude, I watched them play in the ACC tournament, and I just thought, oh, my God, they're clicking on all cylinders. And then you know what happened?
What happened?
You know what happened?
What happened?
I listened to Josh. I got Josh in my head from two things that he kept preaching. Number one, Tennessee are frauds. No, they ain't.
No, yeah, facts. He talked a lot of shit about Tennessee being frauds, and they're pretty far.
And then the second one, he kept saying the Western Athletic Conference is not that good. San Diego State's in the Sweet 16. So
dude, okay,
clearly they were.
He said that to me. He said that on air, and I was like, yeah, man, like I get it, but also they look pretty good. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Well, here's the other thing.
You remember both those.
Yeah, San Diego's. Yeah, I got receipts, homie. But yeah. But honestly, the San Diego State one, I was kind of mad. I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised on that one because like they were underachieved for so many tournaments in a row. I'm not surprised. Kansas, I'm not surprised got beat either because I swear they either lose in the round of 32 or they go to the Final Four.
You're in sixth place, and you have UCLA winning this.
I do, but
nice.
like I know but I lost like.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying you still got some kicking. Yeah, no, I had Virginia. I have Alabama winning both my brackets, so it's fine. Let's talk about that Purdue game.
Fairleigh Dickinson, yeah.
Dude, so
the smallest team in the NCAA tournament, by the way.
The clip I saw was their coach being like, I watched Purdue and we can beat them. That scared the shit out of me, Greg.
That made the rounds. That was like the motivating factor that like everyone was recalling going into that game and stuff. But here's the thing too. And here's the thing. Tony Kornheiser, like on PTI, kept bringing this up, but it was actually very true. Every time I was watching Purdue on TV, they lost.
Yeah.
every time like I watched Purdue, I was like, Zach Edey, and
He's
that's
just
it.
tall.
He's just a tall guy. If you can, and that's the thing. Fairleigh Dickinson, the way they beat them was like they were just faster and they just got to the ball and they made their presence known in that
They
case.
literally just wanted it. That's it.
That's literally it. Yeah, I think the Big Ten is the new Big East in terms of the fact that they're always going to get like 9 or 10 teams in the tournament, and every time they're going to fall because people say, "Oh, this conference is so great. Oh, they beat up on everyone all year.
Yep.
That's why," and stuff like that. No, it's simply for the fact that like because they're beating up on each other all season, the moment they start playing more athletic teams that are faster than them and prioritize something else than them, you get screwed.
Yep.
Unless you're Michigan State, because Michigan State, for some reason, always rises from the dead during this.
Yeah, Kansas State's up 57-55 on Michigan State right now. Some of the other big games I want to talk to you about, Greg. Arizona-Princeton. Amazing upset. I don't know. It's like it's like they're not a big basketball school, I guess is what I want to say. You know what I mean?
Thank you. The team that won the Pac-12 is not a big basketball school.
I mean, we've gotten into this argument before.
We did, okay. You know what it was? When I first started watching college basketball, Arizona was like in the early 2000s, late 90s, was kind of like a team that was like considered a blue blood at the time. So I get it. Fine. Fine. You can say that I got egg on my face for this one. I will gladly take it. Which
I just can't let you shit on Josh's take without bringing up the fact that I
But I was not preaching Arizona the entire time when I was making my bracket. I didn't even pick Arizona.
No. That's totally fair. But you have told me they are a top tier basketball program.
Maybe they're one of those schools that gets overhyped every single year because they.
That's where I was with them.
Or something. Okay.
Yeah, not in a disrespectful way, but that's where I thought them.
Which by the way, I gotta bring this up real quick because I got a text. Shout out to Kim Mulkey and LSU women's basketball team because my buddy Blake is watching the show right now and he told me to give them a shout out on air. So
shout out Livy Dunn. Shout out LSU. Yeah, that's sick. So other things going on in March Madness. You know what's weird to me about this one? There, aside from the 5'8" guy from Kansas State, there hasn't been a guy. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't feel like there's a guy. There's always a guy. There was Doug last year from the Peacocks, for St. Pete Doug. There's no guy this year.
Well, okay.
Like I don't look at any of these teams and go, oh yeah, well they're there because like Kansas City, they're there because of that short guy probably. None of these teams have somebody that I'm like, oh dude, that guy's on a heater. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's what you're referring to. So like in terms of
March Madness guy.
Got it. So like in terms of names, like off the top of my head, like the two that come to my mind are Drew Timme from Gonzaga.
Yes.
And even that, but he's not like willing his team.
No.
He's just like
he's on Gonzaga this year.
Yeah, and Gonzaga is notorious for one of those teams that like I feel like when Gonzaga has a guy, they don't actually like produce, except for that Jalen Suggs team because like they had a chance to win the national title. The first time ever they got that far, by the way.
Dude, I loved Suggs on that team, but I also hated Chet Holmgren. So
yes, fair. And then I mean, like if you want to go that route, you could say Bama and Brandon Miller, but Brandon Miller didn't even play in the first game because he was like he was injured, I think.
Which scared the shit out of me.
So yeah, you're right. Like in terms of guy, there's not a guy that's like willing his team to take it over. I'm sure when we get to the Final Four and kind of look back on it, maybe we'll see that. But in fairness, when I think of like March Madness in terms of like the storylines I look for, I either look for the team. So like a VCU, a Wichita State, or Loyola Chicago, a George Mason, or something like that like captivates you. Or I look for the player that's doing everything in his power, i.e. Steph Curry willing Davidson to the Elite Eight before
John Morant.
John Morant at Murray State. Yeah, like the guy that like makes his name in March Madness and then kind of elevates from that and stuff. That's fair. But in fairness, I don't recall the last Jimmer Fredette. God, I hated that guy. But I don't recall the last time we had like a true guy that was like the one that like you knew that was gonna will his team to it, that was like carrying his team on his back to get to a Final Four or something. Like, can you? Because I can't.
Let's go through the year. So 2022 March Madness. I don't know if is there like a player of the tournament award? Has to be, right?
Yeah, I think there's like a most outstanding player or something
together
like
with
that
AT&T
for like the
5G.
Final Four or something.
Thanks for having us over.
Let me see.
Would you consider?
That was Oche Agaba. Oh wait, I got the list of all. Okay, you go ahead. Say what you're saying. Sorry.
Would you consider the Derrick Rose Memphis team?
Maybe. I don't do it. I think that's a maybe. Jared Butler with Baylor.
Maybe.
Dante DiVincenzo with Villanova. Kyle Guy with Virginia. These are all like the guys that won the award, by the way, Greg.
Right. DiVincenzo's not a bad pull, but that Villanova team had like Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson.
I do think I have the last guy.
Okay.
Shabazz Napier.
Oh, that UConn team with Kevin Ollie as the head coach. Yeah. Wow.
So that was 2014. Tyus Jones in 15.
Tyus Jones isn't a bad one either, actually.
No, agreed. That Duke team was just crazy, though. Wasn't that the I'm gonna look at Duke's 2015 roster.
That wasn't Jason Tatum. That was after.
No, that was oh my lord, who's their big name on there? Grayson Allen's team, Quinn Cook. That was the first year when they had Jahlil Okafor. Damn it, I couldn't think of Jahlil Okafor. Justice Winslow. So that was Grayson Allen's freshman season when he was coming in there, and him and Tyus Jones were mean front court.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Which one's backcourt?
Backcourt is your point guard and shooting guard.
I know, but I hate that that's called the backcourt. I feel like the back is the...
You know what? That actually used to fuck with me all the time as well. Like, I always thought your like center would be the backcourt because he was the back of the line and stuff, but yeah, it's the opposite. It's weird.
Who do you got winning it all right now, Greg?
I mean, I'm still riding with UCLA just because like I picked them, but like if I'm veering off in terms of this, like, well, first of all, like I feel like I've been like pushed to pick UConn just because like everything I've seen on ESPN has been about UConn. I didn't realize how good that team was.
Yeah,
I didn't realize like they have like a dude at center that's supposed to be very, very like he's a good prospect, I would say. Houston maybe just because they're one of the I think they're the only one seed left actually. Now that I think about it. Oh, Bama, sorry, yeah. Houston could make it, but I think they have the toughest like bracket remaining. I'm pretty sure. Like off the top of my head, but I'm going UCLA just to like be consistent because I still think I have hopes for them to win. I think Gonzaga is going to be their tough one to obviously get past and stuff, but then like because I think they'll end up playing UConn because UConn's up like 17 at halftime right now, so I would imagine they'll end up playing UConn and that'll be an interesting game because I think UConn has very good shooting and they have that really good center, so that'll be interesting to try to play off each other. But UCLA, I cannot believe that it took Mick Cronin, the guy who went from Cincinnati, who used to drive me nuts in the Big East, to then go to Louisville to take over for Rick Pitino, to then go to UCLA, which was like the most un-UCLA like hire that they ever had, to turn UCLA around.
Yep.
I can't. I just.
Sometimes you got to go forward to go back and backwards to go forward, Greg.
But isn't it amazing that like that was good. All those flashy hires that UCLA kept making and stuff like never worked out. It was just getting a guy that was just like, hey, play defense.
Yep.
We're gonna put a roster together that prioritizes experience, and we're gonna go far. Like, what a concept.
I'm gonna say this out loud. I don't think it's possible to sleep on a 1 seed, Dre. He said, don't sleep on Houston, best defensive team in the land. Don't disagree with you. Just don't think it's possible to sleep on a 1 seed. There's only 2 left, right?
I was gonna say, yeah. They were also consistently like battling for the #1 overall like ranking all year. So I don't know if anyone's sleeping on them either.
Well, we might be. You and I might be in Dre's defense. But I still got Bama, Texas in the finals. I think they both feel like the best teams right now. They're not just on heaters. They're just very solid teams.
Good.
Yeah, so
Texas
that's mine.
Good, yeah.
Greg, I vote. We just jump into the 2-round mock. That way we can take some time. We got 50 minutes left in the show. That's averaging around like 2 minutes a pick there.
I like it. Although I don't know how well we're going to do with averaging 2 minutes a pick, knowing us, but like I think we can make it work.
All right, let's go through these settings here, Greg. This time we are going to use Pro Football Focus.
Ooh, okay.
True. Okay,
like
Dre, in Dre's defense, he said they just aren't getting the love right now from everyone. That's fair, Dre. Houston is not getting the love. I'll give you that.
They're underappreciated. I'll give you that.
Greg, I need help with the settings. So
okay,
we're doing all teams, 2 rounds. It doesn't matter the speed. Public versus PFF board. Do you want the public board more or the PFF board more? You can slide that son of a gun.
I say let's do their board. So like I say closer to
PFF. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it like 75. Care for positional value, more or less. Meaning like quarterbacks matter more if it's at more because the position matters more. But if it's less, it's just about, I would assume, BPA overall, no matter the position. So like 4 corners could go in the top 4 because they're better than the quarterbacks.
I say we put that like somewhere in the middle.
Oh, okay.
I think because that's kind of like
put it dead in the middle.
Yeah.
Draft needs, more or less.
You know what? For the sake of making Dre happy, I say we lean more towards the needs.
Okay. We're already there. And then randomness, more or less.
Well, the randomness doesn't really matter because we're picking. So I think the randomness is more for like.
Yeah, we don't need any of these.
Automation. Yeah, we don't yeah.
I just like to do it with you. All right, 2 rounds, every team. Here we go. Greg, would you? And doesn't this? So this doesn't even start draft.
What?
You know what's weird on this? I don't know if there's a way to go look back at. We might have to go back. This is a bad in real time. I don't know if there's a way to view the team's previous selections here.
I mean, I'm curious.
We could scroll, but
yeah. So like, I think you can.
But on PFN, you can just click their name and do it. Should we just do PFN? You think?
Well, I think, doesn't it show like on your desktop, like doesn't it have like the list on the side so you can like kind of scroll up and down to like see?
It does. It just isn't like you click the logo and all of them are there. Really, it doesn't matter what platform we use because we're still doing the mock. It's up to you.
I mean, you've already like kind of set it up with PFF, so I just say we stick with it. So.
Okay, you get the first overall pick, Greg.
Yeah, because I had it last week. I know. I think based on what we know and by the fact that someone wants to play horse in Charlotte when he buys his house, give me C.J. Stroud at 1 to Carolina.
That was a crazy clip. For anybody that's listening that didn't know, McCown told Stroud that they would play basketball together whenever he moves to Carolina. So
if that's not – how in the world that they let someone on the field like get that sound clip is beyond me.
Dre doesn't believe that that means anything.
Oh, come on, Dre.
We're gonna clean this up a little bit for everyone at home.
Dre, don't.
Dre.
You're selling yourself too short, Dre. Don't do that.
All right, I am up for the number 2 pick here. I'm the Houston Texans. This one is very easy. Give me Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those are basically chalk. Before you make the pick for the Cardinals, Greg, do you think the Cardinals actually draft at 3?
I saw Kuiper's mock draft this week say that like he'll have the Colts trade up to 3. It'd be interesting. I think teams are going to wait to see what happens with Stroud and Young first. It's going to depend on if the Texans end up taking a quarterback or not.
Yeah.
So I would say they will end up picking at 3 because I think teams are going to realize that like once Stroud and Young are gone, there's not really a point to try. I think they'll let the boards fall to them.
So you are up for the Cardinals, my good man.
This one's easy as well. Give me a defensive player that they desperately need and who is not a hybrid athlete that is going to move all over the field and have no actual position because that doesn't work for them in the end. Give me Will Anderson.
Yeah, I think that's the pick, right? I'm up for the Colts. For me, I've been pretty consistent on this, and I believe all 3 of us, me, you, and Dre, are in the same breadth. Same with Ping and Moorhead. Will Levis is the most start-ready now quarterback. I don't think they want Gardner there for 2 years, and Richardson might require that on the Colts. So if you're really going to take a quarterback that comes in and battles with Gardner day one, it is Will Levis to Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
You're up for Seattle.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the guy who is going to take over for Geno after 3 years. Give me Anthony Richardson.
Talk a little bit more about that, because I think that's not a surprising one, but an interesting one.
I think the logic just makes sense. We all know, based off of the quarterbacks that are available right now in the top 10, Anthony Richardson is the most raw. He's the guy that if you try to play him in the first week of the season, you're fucked. So you want to be in a situation, you want a team that knows that you don't need him to play right away, but you're also in a situation with the Seahawks is that you got to pick at 20. So you're going to get someone that's probably going to contribute so far this year. And by the way, and how you drafted last year, I think you got talent already set up in multiple positions that you don't necessarily need to focus on getting a guy to play right away so far this year. I think I personally think, simply for the fact that we have no idea what's going to happen with the quarterback situation in San Francisco, I can make a clear argument for Seattle potentially being the favorite in the West.
Real quick, Ken Francis denies to ESPN that he contacted teams on behalf of Lamar Jackson. This is getting creepy.
Who the fuck is this guy anyway? Like, I'm trying to I'm surprised Lamar hasn't said anything either about this guy yet, and claims nah.
Well, Lamar said he ain't doing it for me, so it is on there. Dre said maybe Charlotte's going to live there when the weather's nice. I've always had him as one. No, that's not always, Dre. Come on now. I'm up for the Lions, Greg.
I don't know many people that go to Charlotte as a summer home or something, bud. So maybe not.
The Lions for me, Greg, so shifted a decent bit. I originally did have corners here. They did a really good job this offseason assigning some corners.
Great job.
And you know what? One thing that hit me home, Daniel Jeremiah had him mocked here. And for me, that means that his stock is not going to fall much farther. Give me Jalen Carter. Too good, not to, man.
You're not buying into any of the bad combine or anything.
Shut up, Trey. No, the bad pro day, the bad combine, the stuff. Here's the one thing is, the Lions are probably one of the better in terms of teams right now for their culture in the NFL. They've built a strong culture. They have some leadership guys in there. Seattle or Detroit, one of those two teams, in my opinion, will take Jalen Carter.
All right, so I'm up for the Raiders, and something I didn't even think about when I was doing the mock last week, Deke, I completely forgot about the fact that the Raiders have done a horrible job drafting for that offensive line.
Oh yeah,
just an
Leatherwood.
Awful, oh god, just an awful job.
Colton Miller.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm still gonna point this out. I truly hope Mike Mayock releases a book just for the fact that I want to know about that entire Raider situation.
I have to know who made the picks.
I cannot believe that a guy that was so good in his analysis when he was an NFL Network draft scout could be that bad as a GM.
Abrams, Farrell, Leatherwood.
I can't believe it. I cannot. So I truly believe Gruden had way too much say in who got drafted. So, but I'm up for the Raiders. I'm going to fortify that offensive line. Give me a guy that can move around in multiple positions. Give me Peter Skoronski.
So Skoronski is the first O-lineman off the board. Why him over top of Paris and Jones?
I think Jones and Paris are clear-cut tackles, but I think that there's so many just problems along that offensive line in general that I think they just need talent and they need to put the best five possible. And Skoronski will be a guy that wherever they're at their deficit in, he could fill in. Except I don't think he could be a center, but I know that he took snaps out of center in college a little bit. So maybe if they wanted to, sure, but I think that wouldn't be the wisest decision. But I would say Skoronski right now is leaning just for the versatility aspect.
Fair. I don't hate it at all. This is an interesting one for me. There's two guys that I really like here, but what I do think, I think it's important for them, the Falcons, to just get pure, bona fide home run hits. And I think he is a top 5 player in this class. Give me Christian Gonzalez, my number 1 corner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
him and Pairing him and AJ Terrell in that backfield.
I don't think they necessarily need corners, but if you look at those two together in the backfield, I mean, there's just no chance that in that division they're going to lose a game in the air.
Yeah, I would think part of me would probably lean towards pass rush just because like I'm with Dre in the sense that like they cannot get to the quarterback at all. And that's
agreed,
something they desperately need.
But you need to hit. Tyree Wilson is not a home run hitter right now. He's a freak athlete. He looks great. Miles Murphy's not a home run hit. To me, neither of them feel like guys you're going to put in and just be like, yeah, he's going to get to the quarterback. Like, they don't feel like, of recent years, and I'm not going to say like the Aiden Hutchins, but they don't feel like the Josh Allen out of Kentucky where it's like he couldn't, but he did. They don't feel like those types of guys. They feel a little more like secondary, and I get that, you still need those. To get a lockdown secondary is priceless.
That's fair. I mean, honestly, like the best pass defense is a good pass rush as well, which says a lot. But that's fair based on how the board is kind of falling with there.
Yeah.
I think they can get edge guys in the second round to kind of help with that.
100% agree there. You got the Burrs.
I got the Burrs.
Dre says Christian Gonzalez would look sick in a Raiders uni. He'd look sick in every uni, baby.
For the Burrs, which by the way, something I saw recently. I think Matt Miller posted this out. A lot of the corners this year that are like projected to go high in terms of production wise, their numbers actually aren't as like elite as you would think.
Oh yeah, they're not like sauce numbers. I'll give you that.
No, they're not. Yeah, they're not like in terms of like interceptions or anything like that. But like Emmanuel Forbes had like 14 in his career and is being looked at as a second round guy, which is something that I think Matt Miller was like surprised by when he pointed
skinny
that
boy,
out. Very skinny. So I'm up for the Bears. Bears just need talent, but I think in terms of like if you want to go for bang for your buck, they need someone to protect Justin Fields right away. So I'm looking at the offensive line, and it's tough for me, but I think I'm gonna lean towards Paris Johnson Jr. I think because based on the fact, I think Jones is a guy that will be a very good tackle in my opinion, but I think Johnson, based on the tape and the fact that he just kept that pocket so clean for C.J. Stroud at Ohio State, I think that Johnson is going to translate very well to the NFL right away.
Fair. I think that's a really good take there. I'm up for the Eagles, Greg, and this is one thing I'll say that I don't think is that hot of a take, but just want to get it out of there. This is as far as Jalen Carter will fall. If Jalen Carter falls out of the top 6, he will be taken here by the Eagles because the same vein as Dre's luxury for Bijan Johnson, they have the luxury of Jalen Carter being an okay tackle or a defensive tackle because Fletcher took a veteran minimum, because Jordan Davis is still there. For me, in the Eagles situation, I understand Dre wants this to be Bijan. I just feel like it's a trench scenario for them. They have skill position players. They've invested heavily in A.J. Brown. Devonta Smith is still there. They have all the Batmen. Their running back scenario is interesting. They still have Zeke out there. But for me, I am going to take Kalijah Kancey out of Pitt. And, maybe this is a little early for him, but him and Jordan Davis together feels like the next 10 years of Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Yeah. You know what? I will appreciate. First off, I do like that PFF's board's a little bit more up to date because they have Kalijah at like 13, whereas like I think PFN had him as like
60.
50. Yeah, like 60. Like it was absurd. No, I love that. I think he fits in a 4-3 defense like perfectly. So like I'm not saying he'll be the next Aaron Donald, but his comps are very similar.
Yes.
I'll give you that. He didn't dominate like Aaron Donald, but like dude was good for the longest time I've seen him. So I got the Titans.
You cucked yourself twice here with Skoronski and Johnson.
I did. And I'm gonna cuck myself again, man. Like they just got rid of Taylor Lewan. It might be. It's a bit far for their board. I'm surprised how low they have him, but I just think like he'll fit in right away for whoever is going to be your quarterback for the longest time down there in old Nashville, Tennessee. So give me Broderick Jones here.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. Broderick feels like a very safe. Him and Paris Johnson feel very safe, very plug-in at tackle. Skoronski feels very safe in terms of just an O-line talent. So.
By the way, something me and you haven't talked about yet real quick, I'm just going to point this out. I saw renderings for the Tennessee Titans' new stadium.
Sick.
It looks beautiful.
Sick. Oh.
It looks beautiful. And don't get me wrong, like Nissan Stadium I thought was cool when I saw it with you, but like I do think you guys
There's
need an
nothing
upgrade.
over there. Like, the pedestrian bridge
No.
from Broadway is
Yeah.
sick, but there's no, like, I wouldn't go early to a game. Whereas this new place has bars in it and, like, an outside area. Like, it's going to be dope.
Yeah, I think it'll be really cool when it's built.
I'm up for the Texans here, Greg. I think this is an interesting pick because for me, they have their quarterback. They have Bryce Young. The top 3 tackles are off the board, right? So you could go in and force another tackle, offensive line, but I think this is a deeper class, and they still have Laramie Tunzel. You look at their defense. They take Stingley last year. They don't really have any other massively important players. So I am going to go for a guy that I think is the next best. Let me just make sure before I talk out of my ass. Yeah, I think is what I think the next best edge guy, and it's not Tyree, it's not Lucas Van Ness. I think this is a real landing spot for Nolan Smith.
Okay.
And now we're talking about a
All right.
linebacker and an edge guy. We're talking about a little of a mix between. I think Nolan Smith is going to be a freak at the next level. I think if he wasn't hurt, we're talking about him in the top 10. When it's all said and done, I think that the Texans need character guys, and Georgia just breeds them at this point.
I think he will be. Well, I'm curious in this case because I'm curious if D'Amico Ryans will implement a 4-3 defense with his team. Because if that's the case, I don't know how well Nolan Smith will translate to that because he's very undersized for an edge guy. But if he runs if he goes to a team that's a 3-4 defense, my God, I think he'll be great.
100%. And for me, it's about. I don't mind Tyree Hill. For me, Tyree Wilson is a better athlete than he is football player from the tape. You look at Van Ness, who just didn't have the production, McDonald IV. You look at all these edge guys. Smith feels like the high character, new head coach, new quarterback, bringing in the best people possible type of pick there. So
that's fair. All right, so I'm up for the Jets. The board's looking really interesting in terms of guys that I could take, but the route I'm gonna go in actually. I think they're set on the D line, so I'm good there. There's not a linebacker I really like in this class, but I'm going to add some talent to that secondary that I really like. I'm not going to go another corner with Sauce, but I'm going to go safety. I'm going to go Brian Branch.
I was wondering where Branch was going to go in our mocks after today's talks about the Steelers stuff. For me, that's a great pick.
Yeah, I had Branch going really high in our mock last week to the Lions, and I know you thought it was crazy, which is fair.
Still do.
But I think he's got talent, and I think he's one of those guys that in today's NFL that you can move around in so many different spots that I think you need now. Like he can be the box guy. He could maybe be center field type safety if you want to go that route. He can be a nickel guy if you want to go right down. He could be a linebacker at times if you want to go that route too. So I think there's so much that you can do with him, and for a team that is so good defensively, could have a lot of fun with that.
Agreed. Greg, we're having fun with this mock, right?
Absolutely.
This is a good time. We're just, two guys mocking.
Two guys mocking, just being dudes. Yeah.
Good. Bijan Robinson to the Patriots.
Oh God.
I look, man. I like the 3 receivers. A lot of people have receivers, skill players here. For me, they bring in Juju. They let
Watch
go.
Juju have a 1,000-yard season with him, by the way.
Dude, I get it. If you want one team, Dre said Jets legit could do the damn thing next year. I agree with that, Dre. For me with Bijan here, I like Stevenson. I think Stevenson's decent, but they lose Damian Harris. They have a bunch of pass catchers. They are a committee team. There's no better player in this class than Bijan. I think we can all agree on that. Dre says, yep. Wow, I hate it. You only hate it because you wanted him to go to the Eagles at 10, Dre. Bijan to the Patriots. I love it.
Man, I mean, listen, like
you gotta slow the game down in that division. You're playing against Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and a Tua Tagovailoa offense that has the fastest players in the NFL. If you're gonna slow it down, the run game is how to do it. Bijan's the best runner.
No, I mean, like, Belichick loves having, like, 4 running backs to work with and stuff because when one fumbles it and he sits him for the rest of the season, he's got more guys to basically work off. And listen, Ramondre Stevenson, like, came on very strong last year, but they ain't going to pay him.
No.
I don't think
they
would.
He's not that guy.
Yeah, Damian Harris is good, but he ain't a guy.
Well, Damian Harris is in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Who's their backup now?
J.J. Taylor and let's see.
I was curious about that because I thought they were still there, but I guess I guess not.
Right now, the Patriots have Ramondre Stevenson, James Robinson, Pierre Strong Jr., and Ty Montgomery. So they signed James Robinson. That does not negate them, in my mind, from taking Bijan.
No, that'd be fun. Ramondre would be pissed in that case, but I mean, I can't. It's not like they were going to sign him anyway. Though,
No, and he didn't perform good enough to make them not take the best player in the class.
Very true. So I'm up for the Packers, and I'm going. And this I feel like is the floor for Tyree Wilson.
Oh, I like that.
I feel like this is the floor. I think they run a 4-3, which I think he would fit, which is his fit. He's an athletic guy that I don't recall the Packers drafting a lot of them for the defensive line, if I remember correctly. So I think he's like a project type guy that could take some time to slowly kind of get there. Like Rashawn Gary took a year to be the type of player
he
that
looked
he is now.
Great, but he was very worrisome that year.
Yeah, his rookie year was not good at all. So they gave him time to develop, and I think he is now molding himself very slowly into an elite level guy. So add another athlete to that defensive line, that would be a lot of fun because I truly think he's got talent in this class. So I think 15 is like the perfect landing
Agreed.
spot.
And I think tight end they can wait on. There's a lot of really good tight ends. A lot of people haven't taken Mayer or Kincaid.
Yeah, this tight end class is absurd, yeah.
I'm up for the Washington Commanders. For me, there is no way in hell, Greg, I'm letting Devin Witherspoon go another pick. He's too good at corner. The Commanders need dogs. That pick makes all the sense in the world, and it breaks my heart because I would love the Steelers to get Witherspoon. But for me, if the Commanders get Witherspoon, you really genuinely, you fill a hole with a need, and you took the best player available. That's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I look at that offense and stuff, and I think they have a great group of running backs. I think receivers they could improve a little bit on, just a little, but I think they could get that in like the second round and be fine. Tight end also deep class as well, so like they're working it fine. I think, but yeah, they really do just need guys on that defense. All right, so I'm up for the
real quick before you go in. Who is their tight end after Logan Thomas? John Bates, Cole Turner. Amani Rogers, yeah, they need tight end in this class. The receiver thing I'll push back on a little bit. Scary Terry, they took Jahan Dotson in the first last year, Curtis Samuel, and De'Ame Brown, but I don't disagree with you. They should probably just move Antonio Gibson to a wide receiver.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel I has been around for a while, and I love Scary Terry, but like Scary Terry is one of those guys too that I just think like is going to be underappreciated for as long as he has like subpar quarterback play. Yeah. All right, so I'm up for them Pittsburgh Steelers, and this one is obvious. Get a guy to learn under Patrick Peterson, and as a legacy pick, it's JPJ, Joey Porter Jr.
You think they take Porter over Banks right now?
Yes.
I agree.
Banks is way too raw. Banks is like, I'm not saying Banks is already Burns, but Banks is going to take longer to get accustomed to the play style that they go with in terms of the NFL. I cannot imagine Andy Weidel would put a board together that would have Deontay Banks over Joey Porter Jr. I can't see it.
Wow. I just want to say shout out Dre. Keely Ringo is ranked 74th on this list.
He's fallen.
Dude, I look
crazy.
I don't want to say that I called that. Greg, here's you know the wildest thing?
What?
I don't get. But I feel like I have this cornerback class wrapped around my fucking finger.
In what way?
I called Gonzalez being the number one.
His combine was incredible.
Knew Keely Ringo was a fraud. I loved Emmanuel Forbes to start the draft process. I just knew he was tiny, and he's been kind of hovering but rising. I hated Cam Smith when it was all starting because he was a consensus number one corner. I just didn't like him. Mm-hmm. I feel like I did really well in this corner class this year so far, and a lot of it might have been guessing, and we can all talk about that later. I feel like I did pretty good.
I don't think you had any opinion about Deontay Banks, though, so like that's understandable. But that's understandable. But I think you've been consistent in terms of your top three, though, of Witherspoon, Gonzalez, and JPJ.
Yes,
so,
extremely.
So that's at least fair.
And I hate Keely Ringo. So, up for the Lions. I think they did enough in the secondary. They grabbed Jalen Carter to start there. This is an interesting one for me, Greg, because there's a lot of ways they can go. I think they can go very easily to offensive line and just add guys there. They can go to edge and try to get somebody across from Hutchinson, even though their other rookie did have a good year. They can bounce around here a couple different ways. They signed At running back, David Montgomery, so they don't really need help there. So for me personally, even though I want to do something really cute here, and I'm not going to do it though. I want to take Drew Sanders, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give them Lucas Van Ness, a guy that doesn't need to be the one, but can be across from Aiden Hutchinson and kill it.
No, I love that pick, especially for the fact that
thank you, Dre.
we all see Lucas Van Ness as like the talent, but we also know that there's a lot of unknown about him because he's so young and because he wasn't even a starter last year. So putting him on a team that he doesn't have to be the one would be a great situation in that sense.
Dre just said he said the teammate of Kansas, look at Deke, I tip my hat to your CB analysis. You've nailed everything about it. I don't ever think I've nailed a class the way I accidentally nailed this cornerback class, Dre. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a couple tape sessions for myself just watching guys, and I was like, yeah, I just hate that guy, love that guy.
It's weird how that works. So I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not going to go tight end early either in this case because I think that they can find someone kind of later on.
Well, and they have Cade Otton.
They do.
I like Cade Otton.
I think their weapons are okay. O-line. I would not be shocked, like, if this is around the time we start to see the weird, like, interior guy get drafted high, like that Cole Strange pick almost. I could see Joe Tippmann or John Michael Schmitz go in the late end of the first round simply because of that. But I'm looking at the Bucks, and I think I'm going to add to their defense a little bit because I still think they got guys there. Give me Brian Brzee here.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good pick. If we were going to go the sorry, let me find Brian. There he is. If we were going to go the route of O-line here, I would have gone Osiris Torrance. I spelled that one wrong. Yeah. Instead of that, but I'm with you. I think Brian Brzee, I don't think he sneaks as far as we've seen in previous regimes here. I think he's pretty solidified there. Seattle. So Seattle walks out with Anthony Richardson. They were 3-4 games ahead of their assumption there. They have a good running back, 2 good receivers, a decent line for the first time in a while. And that defense, they nailed every pick last year, man. Yeah. For me personally, there's a couple different ways I'd like to go here. I think, though, the smart thing is to go ahead and take – he ran well at the pro day. Give me Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Ooh, okay.
He can play the slot. He can learn under Tyler Lockett. You can't convince me that Lockett's going to be there much longer. And if they don't do some stuff, you can't convince me that Metcalf's going to be happy much longer. So get another receiver, one of the guys that they think might be top of the class. I wouldn't be hateful if they took Addison or Flowers here. I would be questionable if they took Johnson. But Flowers feels like he'd be a really good fit here because he doesn't have to be the guy. But if Jackson Smith and Jigba's there, I think it's a great pick, and it gives Geno a weapon instantly.
I think that I think Lockett's been around for like 10 years at this point.
Dude, swear. Still hasn't had sex either.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time. But yeah, I think that their offense is still in a good spot. I wouldn't be opposed to them also going tight end here. Just as an
don't hate that at all.
But yeah, all right. But I'm up for the Chargers. Another team I could see tight end here just because I don't know who their starter is and stuff. I'm not taking a receiver just because I'm still kind of iffy on everything right now. But you know what? I'll go tight end actually. I'm not high on Dalton Kincaid right now, but so give me the guy that I thought was the best one coming out of this class. Give me Michael Mayer.
Yeah, I think there's 3 guys I think that could go in the first. It's Kincaid, Mayer, and Washington.
Yes,
one of
Washington
Dre's guys.
Washington I thought about too, but I don't know. Like I feel like he will definitely be a first-round guy. I could see him being the first tight end taken, but I just think this tight end class is so deep that teams might talk themselves out of taking him early for the sake of being like, we can get someone just as good in the later rounds and stuff. And this comes back to our conversation about, do we really want to invest our 5th-year option in a tight end?
Yep. I think that's a very, very good analysis there, Greg. I'm up for the Ravens. It is a deep receiver class. I want to take a swing because that's what they said they were going to keep doing. But I'm debating between that and their other need, which is edge right now because he's there. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to break your heart. Give me Jordan Addison.
Oh, my heart. That would hurt.
That would suck. That would suck. So that would suck really bad. I feel bad about that one.
Oh, that would hurt.
Dre, I'm sorry. Thanks for not calling him Baby Gronk, Dre said.
Yeah, no, I fucking hate that comparison so much. Whoever started that.
The world did.
Yeah, the world. All right, so I'm up for the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings just got rid of a lot of their secondary guys, so they're clearly not happy with them.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna go with Deontay Banks. I think he'll be a bit of a project to start.
Agreed.
But I also think too that he's got the height, he's got the speed, and I also think he's not gonna have to deal with Aaron Rodgers twice to pick on him like other guys did. So he should be okay, hopefully.
That's a good pick. I'm up for the Jaguars. This one's easy for me. This is where Osiris Torrance goes. Protect your guy. Trevor Lawrence finishes the season as probably one of the most promising quarterbacks we have. Get a guard to jump into that line. Instant plug-in, day one starter.
Travis Etienne would also be welcoming of another guard, even though the conversation was brought up that he's a better pass blocking guard. I get it, but still improving.
Still the
line
best guard
does
in the
help your running
class.
back.
Yeah.
Still the best guard in the class. That's fair. All right, I'm up for the Giants. They just got tight end help with Darren Waller, which I love.
Which is awesome.
Pickup,
yeah.
by the way. Love that pickup. So I am going to get some receiver help, and I'm actually going to go with your boy. I'm going to go Zay Flowers.
Oh, I love Zay Flowers so much. I didn't take him for the Ravens because I wanted to break your heart, and I didn't want to break my heart. But I love that pick.
I think that's a good pick because they desperately need weapons, and I think that's an offensive weapon that they have not had in a long time. So
Yeah.
give me that. And I'm still not sold on Quentin Johnson in general either. So I would say Flowers will probably be the pick here.
Yeah, I'm interested here, Greg, for the Cowboys. They let Zeke walk. They really only have Tony Pollard. If Bijan's here, they'd be geeked out of their absolute minds. They also need receiver help, though. They need somebody that's not going to let CD be the only guy. When you look at the two categories, for me, there's better running back depth in this class in terms of the high guys and the low guys. But since Zay's gone, since Addison's gone, since JSN's gone, I don't love Quentin Nelson. I don't love Josh Downs. I'm going to go with my number 2 running back here and take Gibbs.
Ooh, I was not expecting you to have Gibbs in the first round now.
So I wasn't either, but if Bijan's gone, and I know that Gibbs and Pollard are very similar players. Jahmyr Gibbs for me is the Alvin Kamara of this class. I think that's not like some crazy take. That's the comparison they've given him. I understand that the Cowboys probably want a harsher runner compared to Pollard, but for me, they want talent and they need speed. And if you want a guy that's just talent and speed, I get it that Quentin Johnson might be right there, but I'm really not liking him, Greg. So give me the second best class running back, Gibbs.
I would honestly be very surprised if 2 running backs go in the first round in this class.
As would I, except for these next 3 picks, because I think the Cowboys, the Bills, and the Bengals all could, depending on what happens with Bijan.
So I'm up for the Bills. Bills, they got screwed over so bad when Von Miller got hurt, so I think they desperately need to add to the pass rush, and you got a guy right there who's falling because he's been injured. Give me Miles Murphy.
Yeah, that was who I was looking at for Jacksonville as well, too. So.
Yeah, if healthy, Miles Murphy is probably a top 10 pick in this class, but he's been hurt most of the season. Hurt near the end of the season, so this is a great value pick for the Bills. So
I love that. So for me, I'm up for the Bengals, but it's, for me, it's between 2 guys here, Greg, and I don't think this should be really a shock to anyone. It's between Dalton Kincaid and Darnell Washington. Kincaid was unbelievable for Utah, an absolute stud at tight end, but that team, man, they made C.J. Azuma work. They made Hayden Hurst work. They might lose T. Higgins. They need somebody that's a red zone threat. Give me Darnell Washington to the Bengals.
Mm-hmm. That would be a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams if that goes through.
Dre says, I also want to say this. In terms of fit, Charbonnet probably fits better. This running back class is incredible. 100%. I thought about taking the Tulane guy in the second for the Cowboys, but here's the thing. It's Jerry Jones, man, and if all 3 of those receivers are gone, he's going to take talent. I love Gibbs. He fits there. Back to the Bengals tight end. Yep, give me him. Greg, you are for the Saints.
Saints lost a lot of guys on the defensive line because of free agency, so they desperately need to refill the ranks of what they got to work with. Give me a guy that at the beginning of some of the season, it's a bean. He wants to get involved in the drafting, so he could get the next one. But I will take Will McDonald IV out of Iowa State here at 29. I think he's a guy that was actually being projected to go in a couple of earlier like top 10
Yeah,
mocks. I mean, I think it's faded a little bit at that end, but I think he's just an athlete, and that's something that they desperately need for
freak.
their line.
Yeah, big fan of that pick there, Greg. That means I'm up for the Eagles. The Eagles previously selected Kalijah Cansey, so they are sitting fairly pretty.
Just like Bean is too.
Yeah, I don't know what he's sniffing. Yeah, so the Eagles, they get their defensive tackle. They could still probably use some help in the O-line, but their O-line is still so good, man, that I almost do want to take Anton Harrison here, but I'm actually going to pivot, and I'm going to go to what I think is their biggest need, Greg. Give me Jack Campbell, linebacker, Iowa.
Oh, I would hate that.
Because it's
I
him
love
or
Jack.
Sanders for me, and Campbell's just been rising up boards.
I think Campbell is the most well-rounded guy. I think Sanders is the athlete that like teams will probably try to scheme to fit their defense better, but
Yeah.
Campbell is a guy that would be a great fit for most teams actually that need linebackers.
Yeah, it's him or Sanders. I like both of them. I think Sanders is a great athlete, like you said, but Jack Campbell actually being the linebacker the Eagles need, feels great.
Yeah. All right, so I'm up for the Kansas City Chiefs here. Couple interesting spots that I could see them going in. I would not mind them maybe addressing the offensive line, especially after they lost Orlando Brown, but I do think they have some decent guys ready to fill the wings. However, a spot that I think would be good value here at 31 to end the round is a guy we were kind of touching on earlier that just has talent but is being looked at because of his size. Give me Emmanuel Forbes here.
Oh, okay. I like that pick.
I think Forbes is going to be the guy that like will get looked at by a lot of teams, will be scared away by the size, but I think the Chiefs are so good at using stuff that might be deficiencies as a ways to kind of somehow work out for them, and I think Forbes will be a very good pro.
Yeah. Start of the second round, Greg. This one for me is tough because there is a clear and obvious and straight up guy screaming in my face here. But there's also
Dre, if that's the case, because you are reading the chat.
No, it is not. And the reason, so I'm not taking Wazzie Smith. Sorry, Dre. The easy pick here for me is DeJuan Jones, tackle out of Ohio State.
That'd be my easy pick as well.
The hard pick for me is Drew Sanders, linebacker, Arkansas. But because I know how we've tried to build in the past and how I think we need to build, it is DeJuan Jones. That is the pick here. Give me the tackle. Let's get a big guy. Let's be happy and just walk away. Now, a question for you. I'm taking DeJuan James based off what I know about the Steelers. Do you think Anton Harrison should be the pick there if we're talking pure talent between the two?
I feel like Jones is the better talent though still. Harrison is, you know what's funny? Harrison and Wanya Morris, the other tackle for Oklahoma, are starting to get some love, and I think they're very athletic and stuff, but I don't know. Like, I look at that Oklahoma team, they were just not that good.
Well, I've heard Harrison is just a right tackle too.
I do believe that as well. But DeJuan Jones, though, was just a guy that, like, is a mountain of a man. You watched him perform very well for Ohio State, like in the games that mattered to a degree. Kept that pocket clean for C.J. Stroud the majority of the time. So based on that alone, I just think he will transition very well.
You got the Texans. The Texans have taken Bryce Young and Nolan Smith so far.
Mm-hmm. So, like we were just talking about it again. So I'm going to add to that offensive line. I'm going to go Anton Harrison.
Okay.
I
think that's a great pick.
Like they just re-upped Laramie Tunsil, so he's clearly going to be their left tackle for a while. So give me the guy that's going to be a right tackle moving forward. So, yeah, Anton Harrison. Easy pickup.
Think that's a great pick. The Cardinals obviously took Will Anderson. For me, Greg, I think this is where it happens. This is where Quentin Johnston goes. They're going to lose D-Hop. Hollywood Brown is there. They don't really have another. I mean, Rondale Moore was a pick for me last year that I thought was going to be great. Quentin Johnston is too talented to fall farther if you need a wide receiver. I like Downs. I love Hyatt. Johnston has the pedigree to actually be a 1 despite his play being a little head-scratching at times. So I like him here.
Yeah, I mean, I do think body type, he's definitely someone that they would need. He's similar to D-Hop. He doesn't have the talent or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but I do think he would fit in nicely there.
Agreed. You are up for the Colts. You have Will Levis.
Could see some areas in it. I'm still not crazy about that defense at all. I think they do need to
I
desperately
did see a
improve it
rumor that
somehow.
DeForest Buckner wants out.
Which and they gave him a big contract when he came over too. So give
Facts.
me a guy who's riding up some boards. Bit of a hard name to say, but I'm gonna try my best here. From Northwestern, Adetomiwa Adebayor.
Oh, there he is. Okay, yeah, you did really good on that.
I tried. I might have butchered a little bit, but yeah, I think very athletic, tested very well at the combine, and put up some decent numbers actually, like to a point that I think he's more of a 4-3 type, which the Colts do run. So I think that would help them a lot because I don't believe their defense was ever something to write home about. Now that they have their quarterback, I think they can now focus on a defense that is desperately needed.
Agreed.
Sense.
Agreed, buddy. Okay, I'm up for the Rams as their first pick. Their needs are OL, edge, safety. I mean, realistically, the Rams just need talent, right? They kind of hedged for that Super Bowl, and now they're looking pretty bad. Got rid of Ramsey, Wagner. Yeah, I think the Rams are going to blow up soon and be like a shell of who they are. So for me, Greg, I get their needs, but it almost comes down to just hitting. You know what I mean? And I think that's a scary thing. So for O-line here, I am going to go tackle. I am going to go who I think is the next best tackle, and it's between Matthew Bergeron and Darnell Wright. I think Wright might have the higher upside, but Bergeron feels safer right now. So give me Bergeron at tackle.
Honestly, for them, I would just take any best offensive lineman in general, regardless of 100%. Position. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at this point. Just because, like, Jesus Christ, like they were running out like undrafted free agents at some point during the year.
Dre says like, Jones is 100% the pick over Wright from Tennessee. Just a heads up, and Harrison. So Jones, yeah, we're both very, very. Broderick Jones, Dre. Sorry, now I'm lost in whatever. You're on for Seattle, Greg. Apologies, Dre. I'm clicking back and forth here. Seattle has Anthony Richardson, and they also have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Seattle was on the clock.
I think I'm going to add to that offense and give me some value that's just dropping right here. Give me Dalton Kincaid.
Oh,
I don't think they're. I think they're tight ends. I don't recall who their starting tight ends were, but I think based off of how this class is looking.
Font.
Okay.
Who has been terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, athletic guy that like hasn't translated well. So like, give me a guy that Kincaid that had pedigree last year, and this is a very deep tight end class. That if you can get someone like him in the second, I think that's just tremendous value.
Agreed. The Raiders walk in with Peter Skoronski as their only pick so far. They need pretty much everything now. They do have Josh Jacobs back. They have Devontae Adams there. They solved some of that O-line stuff, but I am going to go secondary here. Let me open up the corners and safeties we have left. Yeah, I mean, realistically, I think the last name that I feel comfortable taking a stab at here in terms of corners, there is Clark Phillips III, but I think this could be where Cam Smith goes. I feel like I'm going to take Cam Smith and just hope that we get the good quality Cam Smith and walk away here.
He's still got talent, so like it's not like it's a reach or anything. No, I get it.
You got the Panthers who have taken Stroud.
So they got their quarterback. I love their defense, so I'm not necessarily going to focus on that too much.
I'm sorry, Dre. I don't know why I panicked there. Keep going, yeah.
I'll be honest, by the way. I don't know if you've seen like a lot of their offensive like pickups and stuff. Like the Panthers' offense should be solid this year, actually.
Yeah, agreed.
The guys,
Miles Sanders is coming in. Andy Dalton's there, regardless of who their quarterback draft is.
Yeah, Adam Thielen is another guy that they got. Like I think they got a decent like core to work with here. So. But kind of based on that, I'm still maybe gonna add a little more explosiveness because they just got rid of DJ Moore. So give me some receiver help to this one, and I'm gonna go with your boy. Give me Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah, dude, Hyatt. So I like him at the end of they have him low here at the end of the first for the Chiefs because of the way he pops the top off. I think that's a great pick. I think he's a tremendous wide receiver. I like that people like Downs. I just don't see it yet. I just haven't immersed myself, but I love Hyatt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he showed himself last year too for that Tennessee team as well. So that goes without saying.
So the Saints have previously taken Ed McDonald for edge. The corners here feel a little up and down, so I'm going to go with Dre's guy, Mozzie Smith, and solidify that we now have two massive names coming in on defense there.
Really wanted him as like the other pick in 49 for the Steelers. That would have been a good pickup.
I like cucking you. The Titans have taken Broderick Jones. I don't know why Dre just said clear. DeJuan Jones. I thought you were talking Broderick Jones. I have no idea why. But yes, I agree with you. He is the pick over Wright and Harrison. Just to clarify that from before. You were up for the Tits.
Tits need a lot of stuff, unfortunately. But I'm still gonna. This might be a bit of a reach, but I'm gonna shore up that offensive line a little bit more. Give me a guy who's also starting to rise up some boards, just in terms of athleticism. Give me Steve Avillo, the guard from TCU.
Yes.
And I would be curious what would happen if Derrick Henry ends up getting traded. By the way, like Tennessee might burn down.
Dude, so many people at work told me that they would stop being Titans fans.
Wow, that says a lot. I mean, you don't even. I don't think the Titans would have anything else to work with after that. Honestly, they
because Burks is a bust.
1 year. Calm down.
The Jets they took Brian Branch. The Jets have the luxurious position of being back-to-back picks with us here, Greg. This is where he goes. I am going to go defense for the Jets, linebacker. Give me Drew Sanders out of Arkansas.
Your boy. Drew Sanders is a guy that I do believe would be a very good middle linebacker in today's NFL, 100%. Actually. So, yeah. All right, so I got the second one on that. So, linebacker and safety are kind of set up really well. Yes. I'm gonna add to this run on tight ends that are going on right now because I think that I think it's the deep class, and I think that's kind of the missing.
Is Azuma still the starting tight end for them?
I don't know, but I do believe that just based on how good this class is, you might as well just kind of get more weapons to that. And they've already signed every receiver out known to man. So give me Luke Musgrave from Oregon State.
Yeah, so this is a deep class, but he's the last like top tier guy for me.
Yeah, there was like I remember Daniel Jeremiah during the Senior Bowl was like talking about how Musgrave might be a first round guy, and I'm like, what? No, get the fuck out. But no, this tight end class is absurdly strong this year. So I think if you could get a quality guy in a day 2 pick, he's going to be a contributor right away for you.
I am up for the Falcons. They previously took Christian Gonzalez, the number 1 corner in the class. And Greg, I got to be honest, I'm not mad about taking the other 2 ahead of him. But due to these boards being different, at pick 44, the Falcons get Trenton Simpson.
So I'm surprised. I would have thought you would have go edge in this class, especially because there's some very good players available.
So many names still there for edge. I mean, Felix is there, Ojulari. You look at Andre Carter out of Army. Foskey is still down there from Notre Dame. There was another name, Keon Wright, Georgia Tech. He was a name that's been coming on. And then because Byron Young out of Tennessee. There was another name that Kazora was talking about the other day. Point being, for me, that's the last linebacker I want. There's like 7 edge guys that I'm like, yeah, they could work. I get it. The Falcons probably shouldn't follow what I'm doing for them. I'm just trying to build the best pedigree, and they've taken BPA twice now, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Which is weird that you don't like that.
No, it's just.
Well, edge is a need. The best player available is Trenton Simpson. I mean.
Well, I would also argue that there's a lot of edge guys that like I could maybe make the case of picking over Simpson, though, in fairness. But also for the fact too is that I just think the Falcons probably do need athletes as well. So Simpson's not a bad pick. It's just if I'm prioritizing certain areas, I would probably look at how the edge class is falling.
If I'm prioritizing needs over best player available, I would take an edge, right?
Fine. All right, I'm up for the Packers.
Yep. Do you remember who you took last?
Yeah, I believe I took Tyree Wilson, which was a ballin' gift for me on that one. The way the board is kind of falling right now, and I'm thinking about this back, and I'm looking at this back also. I think another problem with the Packers a lot last year was just their offensive line play was very subpar. So give me Dre's boy here. It might be a bit early, but I think he'll be a guy that will stay there for a long time. Give me Joe Tipman from Wisconsin.
I like that. Is he center? True.
He's a center, yeah.
Okay, so he's taken over John Michael Schmidt as the core center.
Yeah, it's very like. It's not like it's obviously not like 2 years ago when there were like 3 centers that like kind of like went back to back to back and you had trouble kind of picking it in that sense. They're very it's very much like a preference type thing, whatever way you
Yeah.
want to go with.
Which
But
is
I
like
think
the Evan
Tippett,
Neal tackle class where you just pick who
yeah,
you
yeah,
are.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think Schmitz has talent that will translate to the NFL, but I think Tippmann's starting to get some love, and I just think like you can't go wrong with a Wisconsin offensive lineman, in my opinion.
Fair.
They breed them there.
Fair. Sorry, I messed up. Let me make sure it still looks good. Okay, we're good. I'm up for the Patriots, who have Bijan Robinson.
Which is a pick is just so mean, but kind of great at the same time.
So there's a couple guys I like here, and I'm looking at wide receiver and tackle, Greg. Tackle, the only guy I like is Darnell Wright. Wide receiver, there is a guy I like later, but
Darnell Wright can also be a guard that you transition as well.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that's going to have to be the pick because of Juju. If I like Josh Downs more, I'd take him. The guy that I'm honestly considering over Josh Downs right now, Greg, is Jaden Reed out of Michigan State because of the Senior Bowl. But I'm going to go Darnell Wright.
He's a very much do-it-all guy. I think Jaden Reed in the second would be kind of early, but then again...
Oh, I think he can go in the second.
You think?
So here's the thing. You get an instant return specialist. Like, no questions asked. He's your day one starter. And if you think about Bill Belichick and that offense and what they could do with a gadget guy like that, I feel very confident when I say this. His comp to me is Tavon Austin. Okay. Kind of can be a wide receiver one. Obviously not as touted as Tavon Austin, but a true, like, we're going to make an offensive play for this guy, and it's going to hit. I was impressed with him at the Senior Bowl. But give me Darnell Wright.
Yeah, then again, last year they took Tyquan Thornton in the second round, which was
100%.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they took Jaden Reed here.
You got the Commanders.
They
took Witherspoon.
They took Witherspoon in the last round. Kind of seeing how the board is looking for them. Guy that I really like kind of coming into the draft process has fallen a little bit, but I think he's still a very well-rounded player. Give me Antonio Johnson from Texas A&M, safety.
Yes. Yeah. So I think safeties are going to be interesting in this class. Johnson was somebody that was highly touted before. Jordan Battle's a guy that I have my eyes on for the Steelers, as well as Ronnie Hickman, but I like Antonio Johnson a lot.
Yeah, I think Antonio Johnson is much more of a center field type guy, which would be, I think, good value for the Commanders at this spot. I think after that, it gets a little murky to kind of determine who would be the next one off the board. So I think if they get some good value here, it would go along. It would help them a lot.
So the Lions have Jalen Carter and Luca Van Ness, all the needs being hit. For me, then we go
great value too.
Agreed. And now we get to the place where I do want to take a corner. They have Tyreek Stevenson as the top corner. Garrett Williams is there. Trevius Hodgins Tomlinson, who I'm a big fan of. For me, though, I do hate him, Greg, but this might be a place where they have the luxury to take Akili Ringo. But I'm actually gonna step. So they brought in all the secondary guys, right? And they feel very happy with where they're at, but none of the guys they brought in can fit somewhat of a nickel formation. So give me Clark Phillips III, who I think is a great positional corner, meaning that you can make defensive schemes with him involved in it. He's not just a lockdown corner. He can really play all the positions there. So give me him, and then you really have a secondary you can be very proud of.
Yeah, another guy that I would have considered would be Julius Brents, just for the fact that he tested very well. He's got length like crazy, so I wouldn't be shocked at all if he would be a pick in terms of a corner there.
Very true.
All right, so I got the last Stillers
what the hell?
pick. Yeah, I don't know how that worked out.
JPJ.
JPJ and DeJuan Jones.
Sorry, I forget you have the board in front of you too. I'm trying to help you, and then I'm like, shit.
It's okay. So seeing how the board is kind of falling, I'm gonna go with a route that we all know that they desperately need more guys on the D-line, a guy that they love and they have not hidden their love for. I believe someone at the Senior Bowl, I think Kazora actually asked one of the coaches about it, and they were like, you have good eyes or something like that. Keanu Benton from Wisconsin would be just a perfect match for them there. So absolutely. I think if you end up with those top three guys, you are walking away thrilled.
When I looked at Jones, the reason I took him there was because Mozzie Smith and Benton were both available.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it makes all the sense in the world, man.
Yeah, I think you get like the unicorn that you want to
Yep.
tackle first, and then worry about the defensive line guys after the fact, because they'll be there. There'll be guys that you want there.
100%. So we have for the Bucks, Brian Brissett, Brian Brossi. He went.
That's gonna be so annoying trying to figure out the proper
I
pronunciation.
know, and it's not even
Why
like
can't
Kamara or whatever he was
No,
coming
why
up with.
can't it just? Why can't it be Breeze? Like it's right there, for the love of God.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, there's a lot of ways the Bucks can go here. I'm trying to think if they really lost anyone this offseason. I don't believe so, other than I do think this is the place that I would feel comfortable taking a stab at Zach Charbonnet.
In the second, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a bit like this running back class. I think is elite, Greg. And looking at the other guys here, I like Charbonnet a lot. I think you come in there. They have White. They have so it's Rashad White, and then I forget the other guy that they took a little while back. I don't love their running backs, especially without playoff Lenny. Other guys, though, I do love in this running back class. Tank Bigsby's a great one. Tajay Spears, I think, is going to be a very, very, very highly
Also
sought after
tested very
guy.
well, yeah.
What's that?
Tested
Extremely.
very well too.
Spears
Yeah.
is going to be the guy that everyone's like, I have a secret guy in fantasy that you don't know about. Big fan of him. Charbonnet to me is the last like upper echelon guy. Obviously, I could see Gibbs in a certain sense, but Charbonnet offers a more downhill running style that I think complements Rashad White.
Okay, so I'm up for the Miami Dolphins, who this is their first pick in this draft after they had that tampering issue with wanting to try to get Sean Payton and Tom Brady. Did not work out well. Their needs are offensive line. I don't know. Like I don't see a lot that they necessarily need on their offense. I think their defense is
Well, there's one position I
okay.
can think of.
I think their defense is somewhat okay, but I just think that I also think that too that they would probably do a good job of adding to their trenches a bit.
Yeah.
Or not even just add trenches, just get athletes on their defense that could like help. And I think a guy that would be fascinating to try to work with and figure out how he fits and could be a very good pro, Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he's low on this board.
He's very low. I think he's a
He's
I think he
64, which is surprising.
Yeah, I think he is a very good athlete pick that you can kind of mold into what you want. I believe that the Dolphins do run a 4-3, so he would probably not fit perfectly as a rusher, but as an off-ball linebacker in a 4-3, I think he could be pretty good.
Yeah.
It might take a little bit to learn and stuff, but I think he'd be a very good addition for them.
I agree. I'm up for Seattle, who have taken, despite Pete Carroll saying he had nightmares about not getting to the quarterback, we have now taken a quarterback, a wide receiver, and a tight end for them, Greg. I think it's
but
time.
It works out well because look at all the edge guys still there for you. Like,
that's where I'm at is edge, and the top interior guys, Siaka Ika out of Baylor, who I'm not pounding the table for as much anymore. So this one I think is very straightforward. You know, you pick between Felix and Ojulari. I'm going to go with Ojulari just out of pedigree and LSU. Add him to their instant edge rusher. Be very happy about it.
That's fair. But I also think too. I think their defense is underrated as is.
100%.
I do think getting more pass rush help will help them a lot.
For sure, dude.
All right, so I'm up for the Chicago Bears. If I remember correctly, they took Paris Johnson in the first round. I don't believe
we have a real quick, Greg. Normally, I would block this. A guy named John Johnson just commented. Shout out to John and John's son. Just found out that can I tongue punch your fart box is a bad pickup line. Anyone recommend a lawyer?
Well, in here in Pittsburgh, we have the twins, which is Shenderovich, and Fish.
Shenderovich, and Fishman. I'm just gonna put that gentleman in a nice little timeout. All right, you're up, Greg.
Yeah, sorry, bud. All right, so I'm up for the Bears. They took Paris Johnson. They need talent, just any way you can think of, and I'm looking at the board and kind of how it's falling, and a guy that I really liked when he was being tested, and I think played exceptionally well this year. Another state-based guy, Sidney Brown from Illinois. I really like him a lot. I like the backstory about him, and I think he would just add character to that defense that just desperately needs guys.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up for the Chargers. They previously took, looking at it, Michael Mayer. So they have their tight end out of there. I do think there's something to be said about the wide receiver situation there, Greg. I think they eventually could get rid of Keenan Allen. Two of the names that are deeper in here, Kayshon Boutte, who I had the awesome, fortunate position to let you and Dre know that he was in a situation. So, and honestly, like...
Which I did not know about, by the way. I love that you were able to pull that out and then just shut Dre up on that one.
Yeah, I said, yeah, you took... And you said, you drafted a guy in the first round that might go undrafted. So, avoiding that one. And then the other guy I do like later here that's even below Jaden Reed is Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. I do think he is a quality wide receiver. None of them are of the same vein as the top guy here, Josh Downs. But then you look at the situation between Josh Downs and, let's say, the top tackle, and I just don't love the tackles anymore. I'm not really in love with a lot of things going on. But you know what? As the Chargers, Greg, they man, I love their secondary. They have Derwin James. They just signed the cornerback from the Patriots that I can't think of his name, and they drafted Asante Samuels Jr. So I want to get rid of the thought of them taking a corner here, despite that being listed as a need. So then you look at there, and I know I'm kind of talking through it, their linebacker situation. I am going to go with Washington State linebacker Henley. I
like him a lot too.
Yeah, they took Murray a few years back. He has not hit. That was a first-round pick at Oklahoma. They loved. Just hasn't hit.
Yeah,
Let's get another linebacker.
Yeah, you got some Chargers fans that hit you back.
They were the nicest fan group out of everyone. They were like, hey, obviously you haven't watched a lot of Chargers football, which is okay because you said you're from Pittsburgh. He doesn't play much for us. Whereas Ravens fans are like, we're taking another fucking wide receiver in the first round. I was like, all right.
Because you can't develop receivers. That's why.
We'll take another swing. Greg, your backup for your team, Jalen Carter, Lucas Van Ness, and the Lions have also taken Clark Phillips at corner.
I'm noticing a theme here that that defense has been desperately needed for this team in some way or another. Yeah, I see how this is. I see everything kind of left over and how it's lining up a bit. I feel like I should still add a little bit to that offense. I'm not taking Josh Downs. I just don't think he fits well.
I think that's fair
for this team. Yeah, the way it's falling. You know what? I love their offense. I love their offensive line too. For the record, I think they're
agreed.
No one talks about how good that offensive line is, but give me a guy that doesn't have to start right away, but can maybe plug and play and learn it eventually as it kind of gets there. Give me John Michael Schmitz.
Oh, you fuck!
Minnesota. Mm-hmm.
That was who I was going to take for the Jaguars.
Yeah, I
was very excited about that.
Take that away from the Jags. They get a little pissy about it because now I don't believe there's a quality center for them in the second round to work off of. But
it would have been, Weipler's there and Voorhees is there, but I agree with you. Neither of them are the same as John Michael Schmidt. Bastard. I will pivot and easily go a route, though. The Jacksonville Jaguars are known for one thing and one thing only, Greg, and that is athletes. Give me Keely Ringo.
Wow. Okay. I was not expecting him to even go in the second round based on how this was falling so far.
Me either. The other corners there, I do like them all. Ringo for me, though. Greg, one thing I can't shit on as much as I've hated on Keely Ringo is the athleticism. The athleticism made him a 5-star recruit. The athleticism got him to Georgia. The athleticism put him at the number 1 cornerback spot at the beginning of all of this. You can't hate on athleticism. And Jacksonville's been built on that for a long time.
I'm up for the Giants. They got a wide receiver, Zay Flowers, in the first round, which I think was a steal. Now how it's falling for them, I think they're kind of pissed at the fact that so many quality offensive linemen are just falling by the wayside because they just desperately need offensive linemen in the worst way. I'm amazed that Saquon Barkley played as well as he did behind that offensive line, honestly. So the way the board is falling, give me a guy that is probably not going to play right away, but could at least maybe develop into a quality tackle. Give me Jalen Duncan.
Oh, phew. I thought you were going to steal my guy later on. I got a guy for the Bengals. I hope he's there. We'll see.
Right. I'm intrigued to see.
I really, really want to take Josh Downs here, Greg, for the Cowboys.
Be a sexy pick. It'd be a very Jerry Jones-esque
So
pick.
the Cowboys currently right now did take Gibbs. Downs is right there. Do you know what would be a sexier pick?
What?
Dallas Cowboys Hendon Hooker.
Oh, my God.
Hear me out.
All right, go ahead.
Hooker's older, coming off an injury, Heisman candidate, arguably best quarterback in the country at a couple points this year. They talked about they are absolutely 100% going to take a quarterback. A lot of people think it's going to be Duggan in the 5th or 6th round. I think they wouldn't do this here, but when you really, really, really look at it, Dak has not been the franchise quarterback. His numbers have been great. There's been a lot of talks, issues, whatever. That division was so terrible for way too long for them to do that. I very much think Jerry Jones could look at this situation and go, yeah, let's get Hendon. Let's see what happens.
I mean, it worked out well last time for Dak to a degree. He got paid for it, and I think no one was expecting anything from it.
I just like Hendon Hooker. I want him to go in the 2nd.
In fairness, Bucky Brooks has him, I think, as his number 3 quarterback in this class.
He's a great quarterback when you look at the tape. It's just that he's also 25 and coming off an ACL injury.
Right. It's like, it's basically kind of like what you would be getting with Stetson Bennett if Stetson Bennett was actually athletic. You know?
Fair.
That makes sense.
If any, I mean, just because they're the same age. You're up for the Bills, Greg.
All right. So the Bills took Miles Murphy because he was falling pretty fast, and I thought that was a quality pickup for them. But now I think they do need to start looking at the offensive line a bit. He's there. He's the best guy available. Give me Luke Weipler from Ohio State. I don't know if he'll go this early, honestly, but it cannot hurt to fortify the line based on how it's looking so far.
Greg, sometimes need is what you need, you know?
Yeah, I know.
I'm up for the Bengals. Top corner, Tyreek Stevenson. Why even think about it? Just get them some help. Eli Apple's burnt toast.
Yeah, I'm amazed Eli Apple's still playing in the league, honestly.
100%. Big facts.
At this point. All right, I got the Bears again. Bears already took, if I remember correctly, they took Paris Johnson and then took, Sidney Brown.
No, you're good,
All
yeah.
Right. All right, so I got my O-lineman, I got my secondary. Seeing how the board is kind of falling, probably wouldn't hurt to add some more weaponry for Justin Fields, but I'm gonna go with the receiver route a little differently. I think he's got some one potential perhaps, but he's not gonna have it right away. Give me Rashee Rice from SMU.
Interesting.
I watched like a couple games with SMU this year.
Yeah.
And he was by far the best player on that team.
Agreed.
And I think he just needs the right opportunity to work.
Hey.
If he goes to this team, he's clearly the number 2 behind DJ Moore, in my opinion. So.
You think he's over Chase already?
Yeah, because
Mooney.
I don't. Maybe not Mooney. He'll probably be the 3, but like Chase Claypool, just like for me, just like.
That's fair. We got a bad taste in our mouth.
No one can figure out what the hell to do with him.
Yep.
So he's a unicorn that like you just can't fit into a mold of a true wide receiver, I guess. So
agreed. I'm up for the Eagles, and because again they do have the luxury, this is where he goes. Give me Tajay Spears.
I love that. Love that pick, actually.
They got to get a running back, and they didn't get Bijan or Gibbs. So grab what I think is the best other running back. And Greg, close this out for the Chiefs. 'Cause
I think this one's easy. Receiver has fallen and is waiting for them in the rings. Josh Downs. Just a perfect pickup for them.
Good mock draft, Greg.
Very good mock draft. PFS was actually kind of fun. I like that the board was actually decently up to date. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch us here next Thursday. Josh will be back, and we'll do another mock, and that's what we do. So, Greg, any parting words, my friend?
Parting is such sweet sorrow until the next day you see us right here on YouTube and for your ear holes on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.